freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men with power want? More power.
My name is Jon Luca-Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca-Zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States .fm network. If I sound a little bit like the Godfather, my voice is horrible. Or maybe, I don't know, just weird. Well, I've been kind of under the weather in every sense. The last week has been rough. And not just for me. I'm telling you, I'm pretty lucky. I heard people that had to go to the hospital. A lot of people. This is, for me, it's kind of a very unusual flu season. There was an article on the Kingman Daily Miner that says, did you take your flu shot? Oh, there's always time for a flu shot. You know what? There's always time to be a moron, in my opinion. And I'm not a doctor, but I tell you something. If you read the ingredients, what you get in that flu shot, I tell you, I wouldn't give that to my dog. Not even to a coyote, seriously. But, as I said, this is my humble opinion. Go to talk to your doctor that probably got paid off by some big pharma. But that's not even just another opinion, of course. Anyway, regardless, guys, we are under attack. Chemical attack. That's a fact. Every day, the last 3 weeks at least, we've been pounded by airplanes over and over and over. And you know what? You can say that we are crazy or I'm crazy, speaking for myself. Guess what? There is no justification for any type of a commercial airline out there to completely out of the blue to transform our blue sky of Arizona in a complete fog. We've been fogged like roaches. That's the fact. Now, if people still believe that government would never do that, at least I'm not going to now waste too much of my time. Seriously, I have other things today I'm going to bring into the show. But the idea is just go to see how many declassified experiments they've been doing on civilians and military people without their consent. And that's what they got caught, these bastards. So the fact that they playing with the weather or doing weather modification, and of course to do that they need to use at least chemicals like barium, salt of barium and aluminum and other things, and silver iodide. Guys, this is serious stuff, okay? Don't forget, especially if you live in Mojave County, you think we're a bunch of crazy. There are some people left over called the Mojave County downwinders. They're all pretty much dead right now because they were pretty much all cancer created by radiation of the U.S. government playing up there north in the area of Nevada. People say, oh, you don't like our government? No, I like America. I never took an oath to defend a corrupted government. Unfortunately, government is made by good people and bad people. And when they are corrupted, and especially they are messing up with our lives, we need to stand up and not being afraid to say what we think is true. Okay? Because these bastards, they hide behind our flag, and they try to pretty much manipulate patriotism with servilism, or, to be a sheep. Okay? We are not sheep here. We love our country, but doesn't mean that we need to love these bastards in government. Now, this is just my humble opinion. Now, very important thing. I've been following the bandit situation since the beginning. I was there as a reporter. I'm amazed I didn't get arrested because I know other reporters like Pete Santilli, just to be there, got arrested. And of course, all this continued with the Oregon standoff. There was not really any standoff. There was just a peaceful occupation of, in my opinion, of what's supposed to be a public land. But that's my opinion. Now, I had on my show several times an activist, a man that I respect for his activism, for his service, but also for his oath that he fulfilled even after his service was already over. Okay? When you are a soldier and you take an oath to defend our Constitution, it doesn't expire after your service is over, after you're dismissed. No, it continues. And it should be for me to every American man and woman, regardless if you've never been in service or not. Anyway, his name is Jon Ritzheimer. And, unfortunately, he had to go through a lot of hard time when he went up there to Oregon. And, of course, they got arrested. He got arrested like they all got arrested. Now, he's back into the scene. He's going to court and originally pleaded guilty. and now he's trying to go back to his position. But more important, let him have him on the show because he has so much good information. I would like to hear directly from his ear, from his mouth. Okay, Jon, are you there?
Hey, I'm here, Luca.
Very good, man. Last time we talked, you were still, going up there. And then I was following your news when you were in Oregon. And then, of course, I follow you the rest of the news when you have to pretty much turn yourself in. Am I right?
Yep, I turned myself in peacefully. I didn't give them the response that they expected, I'm sure. I'm sure they wanted another standoff down here at my house, but I wasn't going to do that with my family.
Yeah. Listen, I know you. I never met you in person, but I know pretty much many of you. And, one thing really irritates the hell out of me, how they're trying to set us up. Because this is honestly one of the things why I really want to bring you up here. If I knew in a little bit of my head that you or any one of you, they had some very bad streak on you, I would say, you know what, I'm the first one to try to infiltrate. But I know pretty much almost all of you. And the only people that they were violent in this movement, they'd be the infiltrators. That's what really, and the media, of course, they tried to completely load it up. That's the story. And go ahead.
They had to, they got to justify their job. They had to demonize us. And then, of course, you got the informants in there that are also trying to get a paycheck. And they are feeding, these juicy lies to the FBI and trying to get their paycheck. So, and that's all we work to all of them is just a payday.
Now, let's go, before we go to the infiltrators, because my job here as the media, I would like to know the names. And more important, of course, we don't have a TV. We cannot show the faces, but I'm sure many of these people, they're still our Facebook friends. And I found outstanding when I found out that among the people that were at Burns there in Oregon, at the refuge, many of them, at least almost most of them, they were infiltrators, according to the articles I was reading. But let's start first of all with you. Tell me how did it go there? The last few days you were there at Burns, at the refuge. What was going on there?
So, I had missed Christmas with my family. I had driven up about on December 19th, and I missed Christmas with my family, New Year's and everything, and I spent a good solid month up there, and so I just felt that it was probably, I talked to a lot of the guys, and things kind of seemed calm. We did see, the FBI build up and everything, but we knew, or we just didn't think anything would go down the way that it went down. I had my wife, and she's raising these kids down here by herself, and so I just told the guys, hey, I'm gonna head back down to Arizona for a little bit, see my family and help out, and make sure my family's taken care of, and then if things are still going on, whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, whatever, whenever I can get back up here, I will get back up here. And but I told them, I said, but if you feel that I need to stay here, then I'll stay. And they all agreed. Everybody was just like, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. Get home, see your family. And even Ammon Bundy, and even LaVoy Finicum, a lot of these guys were able to, on the weekends, sometimes they would leave all the way back home. Ammon Bundy even went all the way back to Idaho at some point during the occupation.
Wow.
And a lot of people don't know that. Yeah. But we would kind of just take breaks. And so I had to come home and take care of my family,
And I'm sure, they knew that, the federal government covering this event, let's put it this way, the agents.
Okay, so that's where things get interesting is I only told, the Bundy brothers, Ammon wasn't even there when I left. And so only like Ryan Bundy, Ryan Payne, and Jason Patrick were really the ones that knew that I left Arizona. So as I left the refuge, as I'm driving out and leaving the refuge, I drive past Mark McConnell, and he's in his Jeep. And at this time, we don't know that he's a federal informant.
Yeah.
So I pull over, he turns around and comes over, and, we start chatting, and I'm like, yeah, I'm heading home. I don't know, I'll be home for a week or a month or whatever. I just got to take care of some things at home. And so that's how the government knew they all viewed me as this psychopath. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall while these guys were getting while they were getting their briefings on us, and I can only imagine just some briefing room, and, they put a picture of Jon Ritzheimer on the wall. This guy is he's a combat veteran, he's a Marine, and he's crazy, and so they knew I was out of the picture. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that's why they chose to attack then, but, I'm sure it definitely helped their decision making of, hey, we have an opportunity to get an ambush going here.
Yeah, Rambo is gone. Let's go for it. I can see their mindset myself. I may be wrong, but I tell you, unfortunately, I see how they're thinking. Now, I want to start to be clear here, okay? Everybody that I'm going to mention here on this show, that you say that they are informant, I would like to have them on the show. This is not just one-way conversation. If you do not want to come, that's your problem, okay? I would like to hear your side of the story. I'm sure you have a side of the story. And I already called off, what really, maybe you have no idea, John, but there is another informer that probably you're familiar with, the original, Swiss man, how they call him, Fabio Minoggio.
Yep.
Kingman, okay? I know Fabio probably since the last 7 years, talking about the deep, heavy undercover infiltration. He approached me when I probably was just almost 2 years after I was in Arizona, but that's another story. We'll go there. So everybody's welcome to come here because, first of all, you think you've done something right. Let's hear your story. You're naming people now that they are officially, according to facts, not just opinion anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. They are infiltrators. Is right?
Yes. And so there's 3 people that have been publicly, 3 people that have officially been outed by the government, and that was Mark McConnell, Fabio, and Terry Linnell.
Mm-hmm.
So Terry Linnell by choice, Fabio, just the luck of the draw, they caught him,
mm-hmm.
and then Mark McConnell was outed by the law enforcement given testimony. So, and people are saying, oh, well, that's just hearsay because it's a cop saying it. But they don't understand when you're in trial, if that cop was lying and said something untrue, then the government would have objected and they would have had to have corrected the record. They would have had to have said, no, Mark McConnell was not an informant. No, Mark McConnell is not the man that got the $25,000 that he said he got. So it's pure fact at that point. It is. How much
did they get paid, Mr. Mark McConnell?
The cop said he saw 2 disbursements, one for $25,000 and one for $10,000. He's not sure if Mark McConnell got both of them.
Wow.
But
wow. And exactly what was his role when he was around you? He was there, right? Exactly. Since the beginning.
He kind of relieved me. When I was leaving, Ryan Payne had called him to come there and help with any kind of security measures and stuff. So he was acting as Ammon Bundy's bodyguard during that time, and he just full on drove him into the mouth of the beast. They when they left, Mark McConnell's the one that set up the ambush. He kept everybody together. Ammon Bundy, Ryan Payne, LaVoy Finicum, and myself. We were going to these towns and giving a speech on the Constitution, and everybody would go up there and talk for about 45 minutes to an hour. And Ammon Bundy was the one that would be the last one to talk. So there was no reason for Ammon to go up to John Day 4 or 5 hours earlier when, there was already LaVoy Finicum, Ryan Payne, and Ryan Bundy scheduled to talk for 3 hours prior to him. And so that's why LaVoy and them were going to leave much earlier. But Mark McConnell was insisting, no, we need to stay together. Let's stay together and we'll leave with them, and telling people, don't bring guns on this one. We don't need to bring guns there and stuff. Let's just look more calm and peaceful. We don't need to bring guns to this. So Mark McConnell set up the whole thing to convoy out of there together. Otherwise, it probably would have just been LaVoy's truck that headed out. But Mark McConnell helped gather all the so-called leaders, and yes, 7 have been acquitted.
What is his background, if you cannot tell me, whatever you know about him? He's a military guy?
Yeah, he's supposed to be a Marine. And so we see 3 Marines that are, I'm just sick to my stomach now that have been outed as Marines. Gary Hunt, writing and publishing all of the Burns Chronicles, somehow I guess he's got a leak or something. He's got a source. And he's been publishing information that even I don't have in the discovery. He's got, apparently he's got records that may be unredacted. And so right now we're able to publish and call out these informants because all of our discovery in the case is under seal, but the informant reports are redacted so that the identities are hidden. So I'm allowed to talk about the identity because, according to the discovery, I supposedly don't really know that, they haven't officially disclosed the identity of these individuals. I can just read through the reports and be able to recognize, okay, this is clearly this guy, and now I'm able to say, I'm not releasing the information. I'm able to just say, for a fact, with certainty, this guy is an informant.
Okay.
And we got 3 Marines, Mark McConnell, Alan Varner, and Will Coleman now. They were all Marines.
And they were all up there?
Yes.
Telling
me Semper Fi, always faithful.
Wow. You know what is very amazing?
While reporting on them.
Very amazing, this one. The reality is that most of the people that I know, beside you, okay? I mean, Aaron, Ammon, they're a bunch of farmers, okay? They're really regular folks. Even LaVoy, he's a great guy, but look at LaVoy. LaVoy was the most probably, naive almost, okay? The guy, I interviewed him on Mojave County just a few months before all this happened. He was almost so polite. When I was doing an interview, I had to refrain myself because I didn't want to shock him. My language. The guy was super cool, okay? And now you have the government, what they were doing, they were completely filling up that environment with all the people that they want to look like, let's say, and I have nothing wrong with that. I think we are human beings, we are Americans, we should be proud of our rights, like the Second Amendment. But the point is, most of these guys that were there, they were just a regular farmer, Joe, okay? And they filled up among you, they surrounded you with all these guys that looks like almost out of the Rambo movie, okay? And they were trying to make you look like, oh my God, look at these guys. I'm right now in front of Mark McConnell, Facebook face, and I'm looking at him. He seems like perfectly fitting the part. The patriot, he loves guns, looks pretty decent, athletic guy. So, and it is exactly what the media love, the right-wing extremists, with the gun owner, gun owners and ready to squeeze the trigger every time they doesn't like something. And that's, of course, we don't do that. But the point is, most of these elements were infiltrators. That's ridiculous. That's something that hopefully the court, the jury should understand. You've been set up. And this is, of course, my humble opinion from outside, the way I look at this. Now, I see, for example, Mark McConnell, Facebook. I'm not his friend, and I'm going to ask him to be a friend, by the way, right now, just because I will tag him on this interview. I see there are a lot of friends that I have in common, and I'm not mentioning names because they are regular people. I don't know if they are aware of Mark McConnell, what it was about, and I would like to know, I'm going to call these friends, hey, by the way, do you know about what's going on with him? Because I'm curious, I don't think everybody knows about these individuals, honestly, and like the other one.
Well, they don't because, when I got out on pretrial release, I've been listening to my attorney and trying to play it cool because I don't want to sit there and say anything that's going to later be used against me. And it all will. But I've been kind of just laying low. So I've been quiet, Meanwhile, Mr. McConnell's been back here in Arizona. He was already back. He's more than just an informant. He's actually like a provocateur.
Yeah.
It's like divide and conquer. So the government sees the Patriot movement as the greatest threat to the system. We're the awake ones. So they've got to go in there and spread division and chaos. So he's immediately back here in Arizona. He's got this whole clique of people that don't think that he's an informant, and some people that even think that he's an informant, but they support him because they for whatever reason, think that we were wrong up there in Oregon or something. I don't know. It's a bunch of armchair,
Okay, let's talk facts. Let's talk facts. So far, you want to go about the system, okay, the judicial system. The court of law found all the defendants up there not guilty. I mean,
right.
Am I right or wrong?
12 people said not guilty. It's not a hung jury. It's not that one person was a holdout. They were getting ready to have a holdout, which used to be a former BLM employee. Wow. Thankfully, we had a competent juror, juror number 4, former Navy veteran, that said, okay, he passed a note to the judge saying, can this person still be considered an impartial juror when he is a former BLM employee? Wow. And his opening statement during the jury deliberations is, I'm not going to lie, guys, I have a lot of bias here.
Wow.
It would have been a hung jury if it wasn't for juror number 4 getting that guy, that federal, government tit person out of the jury pool, who never should have been there to begin with.
Exactly. This is I think it was, people may not believe in God or not, but regardless, there was some, you want to call it luck, I don't know. There was something that worked out the way it's supposed to, but sometimes doesn't happen. Seriously. Because
divine providence.
I believe that because the point is, your government, can set up judges, and they control judges. They can control pretty much, they have infinite resources. I mean, guys, you're going around with probably some public defenders and maybe some, lawyer that in good faith is trying to help you, but the government has all the money they want. It's our money after all. So I tell you, the fact that that was the first huge victory. And now that's exactly my point. All these infiltrators that they thought that they were somehow fighting some extremist, violent, dangerous elements of society, and I'm being sarcastic here. I mean, now they must realize all they were doing, they chose the wrong side. Because you at this point, not yet, but all the other defendants, they were innocents. That's a fact. Okay, according to the court of law. Though that's very important. We must understand that. And, maybe I would say, on the personal note, there are things that I would have done differently. I went on the show pretty much after all that happened. Even I knew that you were exercising your rights, but I also knew that strategically for me was not the right thing to do, was my opinion, but doesn't matter. The point, you didn't endanger anybody. You didn't harm anybody. Seriously, the point is you were just expressing yourself, what's supposed to be public land, our land, okay? And you didn't burn building, you didn't pillage, you didn't rape, you didn't, damage things. You were there peacefully making a point. I would have done that.
Yep, we called for a peaceful resolution every time, every day. It just, myself and Ryan Payne, we would drive out into town at night, and we would go right up to their barricades, and we would just make small talk with some of the sheriff deputies that were out on post.
Yeah.
It was totally militarized up there.
Yeah.
And we'd break out a constitution and just talk with these guys, come on, this thing's written at the 8th grade reading level for us to be able to interpret the people. You should be standing shoulder to shoulder with us. There's tyranny happening here.
Yeah.
And so...
No, this is very sad, and I feel sorry, of course, so much, for people that like LaVoy that never had a chance to even face a jury and a trial. Because the point is, there was an ambush from outside the way we look at this from the video that was released. And by the way, I don't think that video was an accident. What do you think? That was a complete warning, because that was very scary what we saw in that video. For me, it was an execution. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it was very poor communication between the FBI and the local authorities, because we know that they would have covered each other's backs and covered up for each other. But now the FBI is under investigation because there's, if we got 10 bullet holes in the truck and we only got 5 bullet casings, somebody else fired some shots, and the FBI now is under investigation for this HRT team. And for those of you that don't know, that's hostage rescue team. They they were firing at LaVoy right when he stepped out of the truck. His hands up, boom, shot goes in, and I believe that bullet is still lodged in Ryan Bundy's arm, went into his shoulder and down into his arm. And so it was just poor communication. They definitely would have all investigated themselves and found themselves of no wrongdoing. But thankfully, we've got evidence now that this was a wrongful death. And at what point, let me ask that to all your listeners out there, people, just think about it. Whether the person has a badge on them or it's just some thug or anybody, your life is important. So if somebody is shooting at you and your hands are up, at what point are you allowed to defend yourself? And I'm not saying Mr. Finicum reached for a gun. I'm just saying he was already being shot at while he was driving. He was being shot at the second he stepped out of the vehicle with his hands in the air. And then he's continuing to walk down through the snowbank and being shot at. At what point is a man allowed to defend himself? That's the reality of it.
Listen,
he was murdered.
I agree with you, and I tell you something, even if it wasn't reaching for the gun, I tell you, I challenge anybody else to have the human reflexes. When somebody's throwing rocks at you, forget about, shooting. Let's say somebody is throwing a rock at your chest. Your first instinct is to reach whatever hurts, okay? So the point is, how can you keep your hands up when somebody's already shooting at you? I mean, it's ridiculous. Your body, it must
They shot him in the back.
I mean,
that's why his hands came down, because he was shot in the back, and so his hands came down to his side where he was shot, and then that gives them another, he's reaching, here's a few more bullets into him. And I've been to war. I know the fog of war, the chaos. And so I also have a firm belief that those FBI agents that they were missing on purpose. These are well-trained guys. They were missing on purpose just to throw bullets there and cause chaos, and they are the ones that heightened the situation and had the state troopers take the kill shots for them.
Gee. I tell you something. I saw different videos, even slaughtering pigs and things like that. A pig, when they kill a pig, they slaughter a pig, he had more, let's say, clean death. It was really disgusting. And people, I invite everybody else to watch that video over and over. And even if you disagree with the stance on the occupation of the bandits or the cattle rights or the property rights, forget about everything. Even if you are on the other side of the fence, honestly, for me, there are no sides. The only side should be justice here. The only judge is supposed to be, do we have still the basic due process, or we are living under complete tyranny that we have just somebody because as a badge, as a gun, is allowed to shoot at you anytime he wants or she wants. That's the reality. I mean, nobody should be facing that type of, I call it assassination. I really stand behind those words. That was an assassination, okay? Because any one of us in the civilian world, okay, if we had to defend ourselves or use deadly force, there must be a cause. It must be a justifiable cause. There was no cause. I mean, the man was getting out of the car. And by the way, they started to shoot at the car before even he got out. I mean, we know that. There is audio, there is video. I mean, there are proofs, I think, ballistic proof. I mean, the point is they were shooting at the car before even he got out. You confirm that?
Yeah. That's 100% confirmed through, it was Shauna Cox's cell phone footage, which also, by the way, Gary Hunt helped point this out. The cell phone footage that they took from Shauna Cox, they then released the cell phone footage. They released her personal property. Now, if she had that video on her cell phone and she were to offer that for sale to the public, to any news agency or something, that would have brought in a pretty penny for her, probably to get some decent representation.
Yeah.
Not that she didn't do a phenomenal job by herself during this last trial, but that could have been you know what I'm saying? A news agency probably would have paid upward of $100,000 or more to have that exact footage, but instead the government confiscated it, and then they released it without her own. She had no say-so in it.
So sad. They're called private property. That's private property. That should at least have some sort of, she risked her life. She was there, and she deserved every dollar she could, especially, as you said, facing the charge that she had to face, and could have been better to have a few extra dollars on your side. Listen, this is amazing. More I think about it, and that's why I wanted to bring you back on, because we cannot forget. People say, okay, it's time to move on. No, this is time right now, more than ever, to clean this garbage, to completely pursue justice, okay? Not because Trump is elected, everything has to go back to sleep. We have to really now completely pursue this till the end. Because I know many people in these agencies may be decent Americans, and they mean well, but unfortunately, whoever is giving the orders, I'm sorry, I tell you the word, not only they suck, they are traitors. And this is, of course, me speaking, just me, luca-zanna, so nothing about you, John, okay? That's my opinion. They have an agenda. They really knew that you had any type of, animal instinct to kill anybody. They knew that a bunch of you guys, they were a bunch of farmers, and they wanted just to make a peaceful occupation. They knew all that. But to have to build it up, they had to overcharge us tax dollar. Only God knows how much cost that operation in freaking Burns, Oregon, how many millions of dollars just to set up that show, like they were probably, I don't even think those resources they are available in Afghanistan or in Iraq right now for the people that, supposedly they're out there. Okay, it's ridiculous. I saw tanks.
Yeah, and how much more is it costing now that they're trying the remaining defendants?
Yeah.
These guys, the supposed leaders were all acquitted by a jury of 12.
Yeah.
So how can you possibly justify still bringing these people up on a conspiracy charge when this conspiracy was already disproven?
But, first of all, my opinion, they try always to, there's an expression, correct me if I'm wrong, you try to throw some meat on the wall, something's going to stick somehow. And more important, they always feel that maybe somebody may be somehow falling down for a plea guilty, because that's human. You have no resources, they have all the money in the world. And if they charge you, and more important, if they find you guilty, you're going to spend probably the rest of your life there for no crime, by the way. Nobody got harmed. Correct me. Nobody got killed. Nobody got raped. You didn't rob any bank. Am I right or wrong? There was no really
never
any victim.
Threatened anybody.
Yeah.
Yep, we never threatened anybody. It was all trumped up BS. It was fed to the federal agents by the lying informants.
And another thing, that's very disgusting for me. I said, people, you may believe or not that what they're doing is right or wrong. That's not the point. The point is due process. I know that for whatever I've been studying here, our Constitution, more important, our criminal system and our legal system, everybody deserves the chance to have at least to pay bond. Even rapists, they have a chance to post a bail. Am I right? Maybe an expensive bail.
How can they justify holding all these guys from the Nevada 2014 standoff? How can they justify them? There was the standoff, then they all went home, and they got on with their peaceful lives. They were assets to society, and productive members of society. Got on with their lives, raised their families, and everything. And then 2 years later, you're going to lock them up and say they're too much of a threat to be out there.
Yeah,
I was very lucky and fortunate to get pretrial release and be able to see my family again. I just was blessed with a great attorney. I got very lucky.
Wow. And this is amazing. You make a very good point. 2 years after, if they were so dangerous to society, why they even let them out for 2 years and be among us? This is insane. This is, for me, just a political revenge and there's a political assassination. That's what they're trying to do. there are a lot of good people that I know personally. Come on. they are family people. You destroy their life. You destroy their business. You destroy their jobs. You destroy their homes. Many people lost their homes this is not a game. And that's what I'm trying to say to the listeners out there. Don't just crawl your shoulders, say they should have not gone there. How dare you, garbage. I had one day, I was talking to somebody, and we were talking about this, and the first thing out of his mouth said, oh, you know what, they got what they deserve. They should have not gone there, even if they were right. They should have not. You know what? I wasn't born here. I say MF, and I got really mad. Normally I don't get mad. But I tell you, you are an insult to our founding fathers, to all the people before us, that they did what they did. If it was for you, we were still under the English crown. piece of crap, I told him. Go away from my face. That's the point. No, seriously, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, this is disgusting. Now, if there was any of you that I knew you were committing a violent crime or any crime, that means you're endangering somebody else, okay? You don't need to... I would say the first to throw a rock at all of you. And I've been there since the Bundys. I met many of you, and I know what was about this one. This is not about saving the turtles. This is not about the grazing fees. This is not about the birds. This is not about the freaking bill. This is about complete tyranny. It's an agenda to confiscate all our public land for their globalist communist agenda. That's the bottom line. And everybody who refused to bow down, people like you, people even like me, even if I didn't go there, just because I'm talking about this, we are enemies. Enemies of the global government. Simple as that. Now, what do you think about Trump? You think we have a chance to at least clear a little bit this garbage, or it's going to be back to business like usual?
I think he's going to... I'm still very hopeful that a lot of good things come from it. We have Jerry DeLamus, who was pretty much the head of Veterans for Trump for the state of New Hampshire, and he's being held right now without bail for the 2014 standoff. His wife, she's a representative there in New Hampshire. So, I'm hoping that people are shouting that we got Mr. Trump's ear, and as soon as, he gets in office, he can just do away with all this. Jeff Sessions is going to be the new attorney general, and they're going to be the new ones calling the shots. So it's actually going to be Trump's administration that's prosecuting us if he allows them to go through. So people do need to get vocal, and I just hope that. I don't think Mr. Trump has to answer to anybody. And so he's able to change his statements if he wants to about certain things. I saw an interview with Edward Snowden, who I think is a patriot.
Yes.
People say, he's a traitor and stuff, but no, he's not.
Yeah.
He did what was right, and he made it very clear. So they asked him, they said, Mr. Snowden, Trump called you a traitor and stuff. They were taking quotes from Trump, like back when Snowden was first outed, and Trump talking in the heat of the moment,
Yeah.
And so, Mr. Snowden is sitting there saying, well, I wonder when it was that Mr. Trump thinks America was great.
Yeah.
Was it when we were fighting the Brits? When we were fighting for our freedom? Was it when we were giving women their rights? Was it when we were giving blacks rights and equality for all? When exactly can we pinpoint when America was great? Because the very birth of our nation was founded from an act of treason. And so, and Edward Snowden said another great quote in there. He said, it needs to be very clear to people that legal and illegal is not a substitute for right and wrong.
Yes.
There's bad laws out there.
Yes.
And
it is very true. It's very true. That's why I say, please, out there, Americans, I don't care which party, I don't care whatever you think. If you believe still we are this is a battle between what is just and what is unjust, between good and evil. Simple as that. It's not anymore about left and right. It's about the truth and the lies and the deception they try to use to keep us against each other. Because today could be us, that we believe in property rights. Tomorrow could be you that you believe in some other rights. The point is everybody, first of all, should be treated as an American, as a human being with some rights, due process. Unfortunately, we are living already under National Defense Authorization Act, that with a clause of indefinite detention, that even if they don't want to tell you, but for me, what they're doing to you guys, that they keep you without bail in jail, that's pretty much part of this law that Obama signed with Congress just a couple years ago, 3 years ago or so. The point is they can get away now to keep you indefinitely just because they suspect you to be a terrorist. They don't tell you this in the media, but that's the fact. Never in our Constitution and basic legal, even in our Bill of Rights, in a legal system, they kept you like that when there is no even a real threat to society and no crime. I mean, seriously. Now, how did you get so lucky, seriously, that you are not at least waiting in jail for trial like everybody else?
I just think, they had used up all the public defenders, my co-defendants, and so they had to outsource to an attorney who has her own private practice. So I got an attorney who's got her own private practice. She just does, does the public defender. She takes on public cases from time to time. So I just got really lucky, and she fought tooth and nail for me to get out.
Wow.
And because it's easier for an attorney to work with their client when their client is out of being behind bars. So I just got blessed and lucky, and it's I just tell people too, the Bible tells us multiple times in there, Matthew, Mark, John, and everything, about love your neighbor as yourself. And so the Hammonds, they were my neighbor. And I don't need to wait for the government to infringe on the Constitution in my own backyard before I act on it. Even though they lived all the way up in Oregon, they were my neighbor. They were my fellow countrymen. And so that's why I felt obligated to go and be as vocal as I could for this family.
John,
being oppressed.
Can I ask you, can we say the name of the lawyer? I mean, since it's public, because, let's give credit to what credit is due, and I hope we can maybe share this information with the people in need, and maybe she can get some extra business. Can we give her name out?
Her name's Terry Wood, and she runs a practice in Eugene, Oregon. She's a phenomenal attorney, and she's got a great record, and people can read up on her. She fights tooth and nail, and she made it very clear to me that even though I am one of her, appointed cases, and I'm not a private client that just came in there with a bag full of cash. She said she fights for all of her clients equally. Wow. She made that very clear to me. So
That's great. I'm glad to hear that. Now, in some details, because when I was listening to the news, and I was really worried, I must tell you. When I knew that there was a warrant for you, I was afraid they were going to set you up, because they say, they got already the photo there on their computer. Mr. Jon Ritzheimer, Marine, veteran, gunholic, he hates Islam, and is a very, they try to do like Rambo story, okay? Very dangerous.
Yeah.
Probably they put more effort into you than going after, people with ISIS. That, by the way, Obama administration funded. That's another story. Anyway, so I really was worried they were going to set you up and shoot you in the middle of a street. How did they, in a few minutes or a few seconds, how did the story go through? I mean, you got the news from somebody, you went in, how did
okay, so, the cops here in Peoria, Arizona, they know me really well from my outspokenness against Islam, and, ISIS has tweeted my address in the past. I've even had KKK send threats my way.
Great.
So, I've spoken with cops, I'm no stranger to them, and, so they had my contact information and what have you. However, like I said, I didn't tell anybody I was coming home. I shut my phones off and hid everything. I pulled out enough cash from an ATM to where I wouldn't have to be using my credit debit cards coming down. I just wanted to come down and have some private time with my family,
Yeah.
But since the informant knew, that's how they knew that I was back home in Arizona. And so I get a phone call from the police department, and they said, John, they got a warrant for you. And I said, okay, well, what's the charge? And they told me the conspiracy charge, and I go and look it up, and I'm like, okay, maximum 6 years, and that means it's one-time offense and stuff, and I didn't do this, so what am I going to do? And it's not like I'm facing life or anything like that at the moment. And so I asked them, I said, can I spend the night with my family, take my kids to school in the morning, and then I'll turn myself in? And he said, no, the FBI's up here, and they're ready for you. And we got you. Yeah, they pretty much had they were all staged around my house already.
Oh, my God. Yes, go to school. No, don't do that. Probably they would freaking get you out of the door when you walk the door in the morning. So how it ended up?
Well, I said, okay, well, can I have an hour with my family, and then I'll turn myself in?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I'll give you an hour.
Okay.
So I had an hour, And then I was trying to get some of my affairs in order, and they ended up giving me, a little bit more time, like 5 or 10 minutes more, just while I was getting some affairs in order. And then we drove. The police station's not even a mile from my house.
Yeah.
We drove up the road, and FBI was waiting there, and it was kind of a weird procedure. And my kids were with me in the van. I was able to kiss all them goodbye. And
wow.
They didn't cuff me until my wife and kids drove away. Then they cuffed me, and it was a weird, like, the Peoria PD arrested me, and then they kind of, like, handed me over to FBI. It was a really weird, handoff. I don't know if it was for legal reasons or something.
Interesting.
And so then they took me to the FBI building down here in Deer Valley Airport, and, they tried to interrogate me, and luckily, I'm smart enough to where I just kept saying, I want my attorney.
Good.
I want my attorney.
Good.
And they're pressing me for info, though, like, John, this is your time to get your side of the story out, and yada, yada. But that is the worst absolute thing anybody could ever do, is to talk. It will never, ever, ever benefit you by talking to them. They are there for one reason and one reason only. They could be as friendly as they want. They can give you candy bars and sodas and everything there in the interrogation room, but they are there for one reason, and that is to build a case.
Yeah.
You can sit there and tell them I'm not guilty until you're blue in the face, but that's not going to be admitted. Any other little details will be spun and used against you, and that's exactly what, even though I didn't talk to them, they still coordinated with all the local cops here, and all these local cops even still stabbed me in the back kind of thing. Yeah. Not that I did anything wrong, but it just showed how much of a profile they've been building up on me when it came time for my release hearing, and they were just throwing all the dirt they could to try to keep me behind bars.
Yes, try to create an image of you that you are a violent element, an extremist element. And that's really exactly what they're trying to do. And at least, I tell you, I am grateful to God that I'm here in this moment in America because of people like you. Seriously. Because I see as much, sometimes I may not agree with what you did. I would have not gone to burn or whatever because I don't think it would be the strategic thing to do. But guess what? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the Bundys. I'm proud of every other human beings out there that stood up, opened their mouth, and weren't afraid to expose these criminals. That's the bottom line. And that's all I want to tell you. But also I want to say something. I want you to say the last words, a message to these people on the government payrolls. Normally they call themselves patriots. Some of them, they are also veterans, and they took an oath to defend our Constitution and Bill of Rights against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And right now, as you were pointing out, they were part of this setup, because that's the truth. It's been a setup. The only element that they were trying to paint as violent was them. I mean, Mr. Fabio Minoggio, Kingman. I mean, he's the guy who went up there training the guy. The guy even they were just there. He goes there now as a trainer. I saw the video. It's pathetic. And I know Fabio very well. And one day we will talk more and I talk already about Fabio. By the way, Fabio, I know you listen to the show. You got my cell phone. Call me. Come on the show. Come on. I want to hear your story. Now, I'll give you the floor anytime you need, a couple minutes, 3 minutes, whatever, a message to the infiltrators, to the Fabio Minoggio, to the McConnell, whatever you want to say, you got the floor. Just please keep FCC language. That's it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I've told Mark McConnell to his face already. I forgive you. I know that you played a role and helped set up the ambush that killed my friend LaVoy Finicum, and you've been paid an extensive amount of money. But to all of the informants, as I've said to Mark McConnell to his own face, I forgive you. I want absolutely nothing to do with you, and I don't want you to be anywhere in my life or near me or my family. But I forgive you because my God tells me, how can I expect to be forgiven for all of my sins if I'm not able to forgive? So from the bottom of my heart, I forgive you all, and I just hope that you do what's right from here on out. And you've sold out, some of your fellow countrymen, but there's plenty of people out there that have committed horrible sins as well, and trespassed against others. And I'm going to pray for you all, and I hope the best for everyone, and that we can all try to unify this country.
I want to thank you, Jon, again. And please, listeners, when you listen to this interview on the air, also go to lovegunsfreedom.com. There's going to be a YouTube, and I wish you can share this information to everybody. We must wake up every American out there, what they're doing and what they've done to these our fellow Americans. Do not go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. Thank you very much, Jon, and please keep me updated, okay, with any news.
All right, Luca, thanks for having me. And I also want to do a quick shout-out to have people go read the Burns Chronicles, and you will see all the informants, more and more are being exposed daily. Right there at the Burns Chronicles, Outpost of Freedom, written by Gary Hunt.
Perfect.
So, thanks, Luca.
I will post the link. Okay, guys, don't go away. Ready for our number 2, but I have a little break. And more important, I would like to share a couple extra news before we go to our number 2. Do not go away. In this world where everything seems to be going sideways, when you need things set straight, Zanna Coffee Straight Shot Espresso. Start your day with a bang. The best organic and GMO-free coffee beans from around the world to amplify your senses and enhance love for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Zanna Coffee brings you happiness in every cup. Fair trade, certified, sustainable, organic coffee. That means we do not use slaves. Free Zanna songs with every coffee bag. Find Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com. www.zannacoffee.com. Don't be cheap. You deserve the best. Get Zanna Coffee at www.zannacoffee.com. And that was Jon Ritzheimer. By the way, I really mean it when I said all the people that we've been naming, like, for example, Fabio Minoggio, Kingman, the informant for the federal government, also was supposed to be my friend, or used to be my friend, and, of course, McConnell, and everybody else out there that Jon Ritzheimer named or claimed to be informant for the federal government. I really would like to have you on the show. And I'm not trying to set any type of ambush, let's say, interview. You have the microphone. There is no censorship. I'll let you talk. I may ask you some questions, of course, but I want to know your side of the story. Please. I really beg you. And that's it. Simple as that. This show is open to everybody. And that's why we can do this type of format, because we have freedom. We have freedom of speech. I would like to remind you, of course, if you want to support the show, first of all, support KTOX, because it's broadcasting this show, and I appreciate it. I understand the topics that I touch here. Not many other radio stations would ever even allow it. Seriously. And also, I really appreciate your personal support, because this is an independent show. I broadcast it from my own location. I produce it. And as I said, this is for me an act of love at the end. I do many other things. I have no ambitions to become a radio guy. Honestly, I don't even think I have the skills. I barely can speak English sometimes. But my point is, I'm just trying to offer a service. A service to have a platform where we can talk about news that normally you would have not allowed to even listen or talk anywhere else on the airwaves. That's the idea. So if you want to support the show, you heard, zannacoffee.com. And, zannacoffee.com, the best organic coffee, at least, in my opinion, that you really can enjoy, appreciate, and also while you're doing that, you can support the show while you're drinking it and buying it. You can go to zannacoffee.com. You can get 3 different blends. One is the straight shot espresso. That, by the way, it is not just for espresso, but you can also grind it in different ways. But it's one of the most, probably, I think, the most sold out there that we have. So I'm very proud of that. And then, of course, there is 1776, organic coffee to brew a revolution. Then, of course, there is a Route 66 coffee. My gosh, I need another coffee today. Anyway, so whatever, I appreciate your help. Now, things are happening. The next few weeks we will know about the final stage of Trump becoming our president, taking completely office. And I have a lot of hope, I must tell you. I have a lot of hope about Trump. Even being skeptical, I'm still skeptical sometimes. That's fine. We got to be skeptical about everybody. There are things I agree, some things I don't agree. But I heard, for example, that what's happening right now, there is a bill, for example, sponsored by Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, about auditing the Fed. I mean, the private Federal Reserve, their fraud. Yes, the Federal Reserve, their fraud, okay? That this is so important because Donald Trump seems to endorse this bill. That's huge. That's very huge. Why is so important? Because first of all, we must know what's going on. This is supposed to be our money. By the way, they're charging us the interest for every dollar they print or they create out of thin air. And the problem is that we are not allowed to even know what they're doing, how they're sharing this money. And we know that the last, a few years ago, they told us, former Chairman Bernanke said, we don't have to give you any information unless we want to. These people, they think they're like kings and lords, and that's pretty much what they are. The real government is not our elected government, but technically who creates currency dictates the policy, because they can destroy government or they can somehow prop it up like they've been propping it up the last probably, 20 years. Especially now with the national debt that we have. It's all an illusion. Don't forget, every dollar that they print is a dollar based on debt. We're supposed to print our own money as a country, not delegated power to a federal private reserve. I mean, who made them gods? Seriously, we did. I mean, not did, by 1913, the Federal Reserve Act. That was the first real stub in the heart of our republic, in my opinion. Anyway, that's another little story, that is not little sad. It's very sad when you see that video of that poor young man in Chicago surrounded and beaten up by 4 bastards, and I don't want to offend the bastards. These people, they are completely subhumans. I don't care they are black or white, but the fact they are white is a fact. These people, they are completely evil. Okay, completely tied up this guy, cuddling him and torture him for hours, and then broadcasting this live on the internet, on Facebook. I mean, this is what you really understand. There is evil out there. That's why I want you armed. Law-abiding people with arms, with weapons, means that we have an opportunity to defend good against evil. That's what it is about. So please don't go away. Ready for our number 2. We will talk now about the coming class, the concealed weapon carry class in Kingman, Arizona. And then there is another one great in Havasu City coming next week. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna, and I appreciate your help. I appreciate your support, and thank you very much. Don't go away. Now we are ready for our number 2.
It is time. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now with Arizona Concealed Carry Permit by Zanna Enterprises, LLC. Become a more responsible and educated gun owner. Carry legally concealed in 35 states. Carry permitted in restaurants where alcohol is served. Learn where and how you can legally carry a firearm in Arizona. Learn where you can use deadly force. When can you display your gun or not for self-defense? Learn how to deal with law enforcement while carrying a firearm. Learn how to be aware of your surroundings and how to avoid a confrontation. Buy your gun without waiting for a background check. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now. Go to www.azccw.us. Go to www.azccw.us. Free for single mothers and people with disabilities. Don't tread on us. Do you want social justice? Now I give you social justice. The Zanna way. Don't trade on us. The Freedom Rifle by Zanna. The most affordable military-grade semi-automatic AR-15 rifle in M4 configuration, chambered in .223 Wild, that can shoot both 5.56 NATO and .223 Remington. 4 minutes of angle for just $499, made in the USA. Get your Freedom Rifle now. We need every law-abiding American armed with knowledge and at least one military rifle, ready to defend good against evil. With every Don't Trade on Us rifle, you will get free parchment replica of the United States Constitution, free digital CD, Don't Trade on Us, free ebook, How to Become a Rifleman, free t-shirt, Slaves Are Never Armed, I Am Not a Slave, free 30 rounds magazine where allowed by the law,
free laser engraved ejection port. Don't trade on us. For just $499. Go to www.freedomrifle.com. www.freedomrifle.com. Get your Freedom Rifle now. Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on KTOX 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. Second hour, it is about guns, training, ideas, and of course, everything about the Second Amendment. Now, before we start, I want to remind you that this coming Saturday the 14th, exactly in Kingman, at the gun shop called Shots on Airwaves in Kingman, I will be holding the first, let's say, Arizona concealed weapon permit class. And it's a great opportunity for single mothers. Listen to me, single moms and people with real disabilities, okay? I mean, if you have a disabilities and you are coming around with a Ferrari, you know what, this is not for you. But if you're a person with disabled and you have maybe some economic problem, guess what? Class, it's free. Freed means on me. Same story with single moms. If you're a single mom and you're struggling a little bit with money, guess what? The class is free. If you're a single mom and, you know, your ex-husband or whatever gives you, you know, $20,000 a month plus a Maserati, guess what? You're going to also pay us a lunch maybe, okay? But the point is, if you're single mothers, we will keep, by the way, this private. If you come to my event, to the Arizona Concealed Carry Permit in Kingman this 14th, and you qualify to be a single mom, I'm not going to advertise it. By the way, this is a free class on you, single mom. No, you're going to be treated like every other person. And why am I doing this? It's very simple. First of all, you know what? My mom was a single mom. And unfortunately, we did not have Second Amendment right in Italy. And I wish we had. At the same time, I also, you know, feel sorry for, you know, kids and teenagers or just, you know, moms alone that they have not the right, or at least the opportunity to protect themselves without a weapon. Since they don't have a man around, I like to at least to have a weapon. But, you know, the weapon itself is not enough. You need to have knowledge, especially, you know, the law, knowing the law, and also understanding what you should start to do. Because this class is not going to give you the magic power to know how to, you know, shoot a gun. You know, it's going to be just few hours. We will cover an extensive, you know, curriculum, way beyond and above what the minimum requirement. But the idea is to give you the opportunity to know the basic foundations of safety and, of course, also the things that you should know when it comes down to marksmanship and, of course, the Arizona state laws and federal laws, too, of course. So if you want to know more about this coming class, go to www.azccw.us, azccw.us, or just go to lovegunsfreedom.com. There is my email, and you can shoot me an email. I can give you details. It's going to be we're going to be starting at 10 o'clock exactly this coming Saturday, the 14th. Now, I have a guest that I had the pleasure to meet in person because, you know, he purchased one of my Don't Trade on Us, the Freedom Rifle. And I never really spent time at the range with him. I like to meet him and also go shoot together. But meanwhile, I always like to really to know the input, how they enjoy the rifle, if they enjoy something they can improve, we can improve. I like to know their feedback. His name is Jon from Kingman. Jon, are you there?
Yeah. How you doing?
Very good, my friend. Okay, very good. Thank you for your time. I know today is kind of a family day for you, so probably you try to,
no problem.
Rest a little bit. So listen, I know that, because I gave you the offer, okay? At least you got from me the offer of the Don't Trade on Us, the Freedom Rifle, and then, of course, you put together with the Plum Crazy Generation 2 lower. I want your feedback. Why, first of all, did you look for this type of new platform? Or at least, the platform is the same. AR-15, there are billions of our AR-15s there. But, this is kind of a unique rifle because starting from price, it's probably the most affordable out there for $499.
Right.
What was your initial situation? Why you say, let me try this rifle? Was the price that somehow gave you the idea to purchase it?
No, actually, it was the fact that it was so much lighter than my old AR, and the fact that it's very well backed by the owners, the manufacturers, I guess, and it as far as a very affordable weapon goes, I love it a lot more. I can sling it around my neck and shoulders, since I'm, part of the Arizona State Militia. It doesn't hurt my neck. I don't even notice it's there half the time.
Question, what was your other rifle? I mean, we can say, whatever brand you have, what type of model you have. What did you have, or what do you still have?
Well, my old rifle was it wasn't a particular brand. It was an Arms Corps and a Palmetto mix. I just bought a couple different. There's a bolt carrier group, a lower was Palmetto, and the upper was Arms Corps. The bolt carrier group was Arms Corps. It was kind of a Franken gun, but I really enjoy having the I enjoyed the rifle. I guess I can't think it was a terrible rifle, but with it was so heavy, and for using it for the Arizona State Militia, I prefer having a lighter weapon. Plus the Freedom rifle, being able to shoot and reach out further than my old rifle it's a blessing. Well, I'm really happy with it. The only things I've modified on it since I got the rifle is I added a sling ring to it.
Yes.
And that's about the only thing I've actually done to the weapon at all. It fires great. Fires really fast. The trigger very sensitive. Loving the trigger pull on that.
Yeah, did you watch the video of the trigger? I went down to the factory to meet Ed, the owner of one of the owners of Plum Crazy. We tested I have a Bushmaster, kind of one of my first AR-15 I bought years ago. Very nice upgraded Bushmaster with fluted barrel and a lot of little fancy stuff. But bottom line, the factory trigger for the Bushmaster was about 8.3 pounds. Instead, this out of the box, let's say this very, I tell you, inexpensive but lifetime warranty and super strong trigger from Generation 2 of Plum Crazy, they are about 3.8 pounds. I don't know did you watch the video?
Yeah, I actually saw the video. You were getting off some shots there pretty quick with a broken finger, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm shooting with I cannot really bend this finger. It is like kind of almost like straight, but I'm able to put between 5 rounds in 1.1 seconds. Now I'm working on 6 rounds in 1.3 seconds. So I'm pretty amazed.
Oh, there you go.
It is an amazing little trigger. And you know what I like? You do not need to put any type of lubricant, just to let you know. Normally, when you have a regular AR, all the interior part of the trigger is metal, so you want to lube a little bit. This one, you have to do just wash it, if there is dirt, of course, and with a, pressure hair. That's it.
Right. Yeah, I haven't done anything to that lower at all. Nothing to it, nothing to the upper. I wiped it down after I shot a little bit with it at our last training, but it's very fantastic. Very fantastic weapon. I love that it's light. I love that it's got the warranties on it. It's backed by the manufacturers and everyone involved. I think it's
yes. We're here, and I'm also behind the upper. Of course, the upper is every part that movable like that. Like for example, the ball group. Eventually, you will need to change. Some parts. Some springs. It's normal consumption. But the product is made in the U.S. I'm here. And that's the beautiful thing. I'm here trying to make. I don't care that the price is super duper affordable. I still treat every customer like they bought the most expensive rifle, because for me the rifle is not like a hobby. It's something that we must keep functioning. And I'd rather to have one rifle that works than have 20 rifles that they all somehow needs to be fixed. You know what I mean? So I want that rifle to work, not because it's affordable means it's gonna work half of the time. It must work every time. Of course, always keep it nice and fresh and clean. Now, question: what type of ammo normally do you use when you shoot it?
What type of ammo? I use brass casing. They're just they're reloads from one of the guys in the militia.
Okay.
He's got a very good press, and he makes really good ammo. And the rounds that I shot through, not even a hiccup, not one.
That's good. If you can
incredible.
Find somebody that really knows what he's doing, let me tell you something. Though, in general, with the uppers and the lowers, we give lifetime warranty, of course, but we always say, please, at your own risk, do not use reloads. You can use reloads. It's your rifle after all. But, if it blows up, it's up to you. And you know why? Because also liability factors. Because, let's say Winchester or any other big brand out there make a mix up, it's something you know where to go. Okay? And normally I tell you, I've been shooting every type of brand. And I know sometimes they have recalls too. Even the big names make mistake. But so far, I know that the few times I was close to have a problem were with reloads. And, thank God nothing happened. They were even my reloads. So I made myself a point. unless I have, for example, really an emergency situation, like we are, I don't know, at war, or we are some sort of a problem with imports or components. At that point, I try to always buy brand new ammo. By the way, do you know that you can shoot also steel case ammo with this rifle, like, for example, the Brown Bear?
Right, yeah, you had mentioned something about that to me a while ago about it. But doesn't it have a problem jamming in there with the, after, I know steel casings are notorious for that, after they heat up and get all that gunk on the inside of your chamber and whatnot? Do you ever run into a problem with that?
The only problem I had when by the way, I have a video, we were shooting at Havasu summertime, with a temperature about over 130 degrees on video. Then, when you pass 110, 115, you start to see, of course, also the heating of the shooting part. Then you start to have all the gunk, start to become almost like a glue. And then we switch to brass. But till 120 degrees, I was shooting a Brown Bear with no problem. During the regular average weather here for training, I always shoot just Brown Bear, the green box. That, by the way, is not a secret. I always share to my friends and also people who buy the rifle. You can buy it so far, the best deal I found. And people maybe can find other deals. Let me know. I will share it. On sgammo.com, the average price they had a few months ago was 1,000 rounds, 55 grains. Okay, this is the 223 Remington. It's not 5.56, but it's okay. For training, it's fine. Little less pressure, but this is great. For about $215 plus $15 shipping, no sale tax. So you pay about...
That's a really good deal.
Yeah, you pay about 23 cents or 20 something like that, 23 cents a round, cheaper than probably many handgun rounds. And you don't need to stress about reloads. You don't need to stress about, oh my God, did my friend maybe put too much powder? And more important, you can save the good ammo for when you do, let's say, other situation. But for practicing...
Right.
By the way, they're very accurate. I mean, I can do 1 square inch group. That means 4 minutes of angle at 25 meters with no benches, just with the prone and 1 sling once the rifle is 0. So I tell you.
Very nice.
Oh yeah, I got that on video, and I invite everybody. And by the way, I would like to go with you and any other friends out there, because this rifle I like to go shoot it. I don't like just to talk about it. And I always also, let's say, offer this sort of follow up to my customers that for me they are friends, because I don't sell this rifle just to make a buck. I'd like to have every man or woman or between, I don't care what is your sexual preference here, if you love freedom, if you love America, if you love our state, to at least have a gun, in this case a rifle. We start with that and know how to use it, because we need armed people, armed citizens. So that's why I did this idea. I want to have the working man out there, or the working woman doesn't need to wait for Christmas or to put, layaway. They can buy this gun without thinking, oh my God, this next week we're not going to have food. No, you can have everything you need, plus you can have your rifle with a lifetime warranty. Anything you want to talk about what you do? I know that you are involved with the Arizona State Militia. Let me know a little bit more about this. What is this organization? Tell me more about it, please.
It's a group of individuals, Arizona residents get together. It's a completely volunteer organization. Patriots to get together to, be kind of like a first line of defense for the public against foreign or domestic threats. We try to do everything we can to protect the people, and we like to we really believe in what we stand for, and we're standing behind the flag. It's truly patriotic type of deal.
That many people think out there when they use they hear the word militia, because it's been instrumentalized by the media and of course by the propaganda, that is like some sort of a terrible word. But I would like to remind everybody out there, especially if you live in Arizona, all you gotta do is go to our Arizona Constitution and revised statute. The militia, it is a part of our Constitution in Arizona. I mean, every man between the age of 18 and 45 automatically is enrolled in the militia. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
Of course,
I actually knew that.
And then, of course, there are different exceptions. There are people that are exempted. And, of course, there is the organized and the unorganized militia. And there is also the National Guard that is not a militia, as people may think. So it's different. We have here in our Constitution. And militia doesn't mean people that just get a bunch of camos and get rifles, go shoot. No. Militia means people that They are volunteering their time and their money to help, because tomorrow could be, let's say, a natural disaster. Tomorrow could be a tornado. Tomorrow could be an earthquake. Tomorrow could be, let's say, a riot. Anything. You're here to support our elected law enforcement, in this case, of course, the sheriff. And, of course, as an individual, you have also the, let's say, independence to, more important, to follow the Constitution and to exercise your Second Amendment. You don't need to have the order from the sheriff. That's why it's called unorganized militia. Okay, that's the bottom line.
Right.
But it's more than just shooting and playing Rambo. It is about also preparing for emergencies. Do you do any type of monthly training, weekly training? What do you do exactly?
We do. We've got monthly trainings that we host, and then every 3 months we do like a 3-day camp out intensive training, and then we have meetings once a week. We also send out emails quite frequently to keep everybody who can't make it to meetings and trainings, to keep them in the loop and updated. I mean, let's just face it, everybody's got to work for a living, so and keeping everybody up to speed and on the same page really helps with being organized with it. But no, it's a lot of fun, and people who want to get on board with it, all they got to do is go to the ASM, Arizona State Militia website, and they can find contact information there from, we would be Bravo companies in the Mojave County, and so they're able to find anything there, as far as like videos on the militia, I guess demo videos. You can kind of see what they're all about as far as like tactics and whatnot. You can see a small portion of that, and then mostly it's contact information if you're interested in joining. Okay. And then we've got recruiters all around Mojave County that can help you get started.
It's funny because I am here on Southern Poverty Law Center. That, by the way, I was featured in 2005 before even I was a citizen, and they put me under the nativist. And it's funny because I was even born here. I was born in Italy, so how can I be a native?
Oh, wow.
That's so kind of fun. But, just because, I am a strong supporter of legal immigration, and I believe in borders, and I believe that, every country should have the right, to have borders. Otherwise, you lose your sovereignty. I believe in the Constitution. I don't believe in communists or fascists or any type of tyranny. Bang! I got a special Medal of Honor. They put me there when I was just after, I just became a citizen like a few weeks after. So I understand the propaganda. That was 2005 when I was at my little page there, and I think it's still there. And then I see now, July 29, 2014, the Arizona State Militia say it's mainstream, and they say it's not. So it's funny. Everybody that for me, at least almost everybody who is on Southern Poverty Law Center, I consider a friend of mine. The sad thing, is fun because they try to mix us up with racist, Nazi skin, or any other things that I know you are not. But the problem is they put legitimate people with a couple of bad elements, and they try to put us all in the same pot. That's the way they try to work it out. So people, they get kind of, are you aware of this article, by the way, on the, Southern Poverty Law Center? By the way, they're not poor at all. They got millions of dollars, these bastards. Are you aware of that?
Yeah. Well, I haven't personally seen it myself. This would be the first story of, actually, where I know somebody a part of it, but I know what goes on. I know what happens. It is a terrible thing to, group everybody together like that.
What is sad? I like people that, get involved like yourself, and I think it's great doing something proactive, not just complaining. Okay, let's do something to honor our rights and and to try to take care of our families and our community. That's great. At the same time, what I really am, this is just my strategy, of course, we don't need to agree. When I see groups like there is an official website, and there is, of course, a group, try to do legitimate, try to invite people, try to show what you're doing. At the same time, though, you have the other side of the coin. You invite also the scumbags, like the Southern Poverty Laws, because they were very proud that, in September of the last year, TV station KTOX in Phoenix ran an investigative report from a correspondent who went undercover, you were trying to, some sort of Osama bin Laden story, and to one of the ASM meeting, and found that its recruiters were offering advice to veterans and military contractors about how to get around military prohibitions against militia involvement. I mean, think about that. First of all, we're talking about a right. In our state, it's a right. It also is a duty to be part of our militia, okay? But look, that's the bad news that they found, because some of the members, so the point is, you see, you open doors to potential infiltrators, let's say, agent provocateur, that they were trying to say, hey, by the way, let's go out there and let's blow up something. And you say, wait a second, what did you say? And bang, you say something out of context, and they come and they find an excuse to storm you out. So, did you ever had any specific problem with somebody that you had to say, you know what, dude, we don't like your attitude, you don't like your face, get out of here?
We've run into members like that in the past. I mean, I've been a member of the ASM here now for going on, I think, almost 4 years now. And, I mean, you're always going to find those kind of people no matter what organization you're a part of or even, any kind of volunteer situation. I mean, you just got to kind of get them out of there. They're just a poison to what your above goal is. So you got to get them out of there before they do any more damage. Yeah. So I think that's just the main trick, is to get them out quickly and kind of forget about them and just focus on what you're trying to accomplish, and the good people will come. The bad
I'm sure. My only point is sometimes you're not that lucky to find out when it's too late, because most of these situations, like for example, they found out the militia in Alaska, wherever they were set up. They were given the idea. They were given the weapon. They were saying, come on, do that. That's called instigation. That's called, sometimes you get people that unfortunately they're doing something wrong, but at the same time they create the problem. You know what I mean? Because sometimes most of the situation, they've been instigated and they've been manipulated. So they need to fabricate the drama. I don't know, you were very young. I was even in the country here. I was still in Italy, but I learned after when I came. Oklahoma City was a scam, by the way. It wasn't exactly the way they told us. Are you familiar with the story?
Right.
I mean...
Yeah, you're talking about the city bombing?
Yeah, Oklahoma City bombing. The Mr. Timothy McVeigh, the right-wing militia extremist, he was just the puppet. Unfortunately, was used as let's say, this sort of, like one was with Jeff Kennedy, The other guy was the idiot out there that had to take all the fault. But the point is, seriously, guys, it's very important that we learn about these things, because otherwise that's how they started to make the militia a bad word, because they're afraid. The government is afraid. This country was founded and created on the blood of the militia. We didn't really have a regular army. Besides George Washington, of course, but the most of our fighting force, they were regular average Joe, and even some women, of course, at different levels. But the point was average people. There wasn't a formal army. So we had to have these people, the militia, created this country. And now they want to make us forget about that. And militia must be associated to a bad word. That's why it's very important we learn about, please Google it, YouTube it. There are so many videos out there with generals, 3-star generals. Who show the evidence that ballistically that explosive never would have been possible to do the damage they did. It did. And more important, there were charges inside. There is mainstream local media on video. You will see they were being pulled off from national media. They say charges not exploded. They were found in the building. Who can put this type of stuff in the building? Not some freaking guy from Kingman, okay? That's the guy. That was the guy that they used as a farce. So it's very important, because they tried to make us afraid to even talk about these things. That's why I want to talk about militia, because it's not a bad word. It's something we should, not everybody must join it. You don't have to. But guess what? It's like people go to churches to help. Some other people go to the hospital to help the poor, so the sick. You can join the militia and do your part. That's the point. My only concern is when you put it so open, everybody can join you on the website. If I was a bad person with bad intention to try to discredit you, the best case scenario, I would join just to spy and just to justify my, federal government paycheck, overpaid paycheck. Because these people, to do their freaking job, rather than really focusing on criminals that we have, for example, coming from south of the border, no, they need to focus on law-abiding America, work in America, and get paid big bucks compared to the private sector. That really disgusts me, by the way. Seriously. You know how much you get paid, for example, even just the guy working for BLM entry level, nothing to compare to any private sector. So one of these guys that by the way, we have a huge force of federal agents since the time of the Oklahoma bombing. They never left here. Are you aware of that? They're still here in Moave County.
Yeah.
They're here. So they need to justify their paycheck. And I'm sure they're listening to this show. And I'm sure probably they went to some of your meetings and they need to spend some sort, great report, Oh, by the way, John from Kingman just bought the Zanna Don't Trade on Us rifle. Let's write a book about it. Seriously. Must be something very dangerous to society. Let's report to Obama. I mean, that's scary, freaky, ridiculous. Anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything you want to say? Anything about anything?
Well, I mean, it was a real pleasure being a part of your show and being a part of, the product that you're trying to create for everybody and the message that you're delivering behind it. I think honestly, it's all really good stuff. To be honest, I think it's a good thing to be a part of. And,
hey, thank you.
As soon as the girlfriend's ready to train with a rifle herself, she'll have one of her own Freedom rifles.
Perfect. And by the way, speaking about girlfriend, Saturday, I have, the first class I'm attending. I'm the freaking instructor. I'm not attending. Anyway, I'm going to be teaching this class of Arizona Concealed Carry Permit to the public. And I have, in case you have any friend who is in disability or any, let's say, lady who is a single mom and she has no support and maybe she's short with cash, it's free. Seriously. So tell us, spread the voice around. We have a couple of seats left. And it's going to be a great event. And what I'm trying to do, it is not just to say, get this piece of plastic. By the way, we don't really need it in Arizona. You know that. We have the constitutional carry. But I brought a blog on azccw.us. There's 6 advantages, in my opinion, when you get a CCW in Arizona. I am against permits. I hate the idea of permits because, after all, it's just a right that they sell us back to, to us as a permit. But when you come down that, for example, I can go to a shop now, if I want to buy a gun from a shop, I don't need anymore to have this magic phone call to NICS and FBI and waiting maybe 3 hours. Guess what? Show my ID, show my Arizona concealed carry weapon permit, and bang, I can get my gun and get out of the shop. Right there is pretty nice. I can buy brand new guns without stress. And then another thing, knowing the basic of the law, okay? Because we are here as the gun owners, we must be held at a higher standard than the average person. We cannot make mistake. We are liable for every mistake we make, especially for every bullet coming out of the round. Coming out of the barrel of our guns. So I tell you, one thing that really try to pressure a lot of information is about knowing the laws. Even I'm no lawyer, I will give you the best information I can. Where to carry, how to carry, when to display, when you can display a gun for self-defense. We have also, of course, new laws that now you can also display for defensive purposes. And more important, if you ever have to, be sure that you know when to squeeze the trigger. You can just, start to shoot at things or people when you feel like it. So it's very important. I invite everybody out there. And, of course, after the class, it is not mandatory, but I also like to go to the range. We give as extra free service. We have a virtual simulator that I have, infrared. We can shoot there, or we can go to the range. It's going to be a fun event, and more important, productive event. So please spread the voice around if you have any ladies with single mom, okay?
Oh, no problem.
Perfect. So listen, next time, when normally Sunday is a good day for you to go shoot?
Well, right now Sundays aren't super awesome because I work. Okay. I'm working every Sunday, I think, the rest of this month.
Okay.
But maybe starting in February, I'll start to have Sundays off. Are Sundays the only day you go to the range?
But normally Saturday or Sunday, one or the other one. So let's try to plan together. Saturday.
I can probably swing you a Saturday.
Perfect. So let's do that. This week is kind of crazy. Of course, I have the situation, but maybe next couple of weeks I like to go. I need to zero some new rifles. You can bring your rifle. We can shoot together. Maybe we can make a little video there, okay?
Sweet. Sounds like a plan.
Perfect. So listen, say hi to your dad and everybody at the militia group. Say that, I support you guys, and anybody who wants to come on the show is welcome, okay?
Not a problem. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And this was John from Kingman, who bought Don't Trade on Us, the Freedom Rifle by Zanna. Now, a little bit of a break, and then we go back. This is the second hour. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom. It is all going to be about training and Second Amendment. Do not go away.
It is time. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now with Arizona Concealed Carry Permit by Zanna Enterprises, LLC. Become a more responsible and educated gun owner. Carry legally concealed in 35 states. Carry permitted in restaurants where alcohol is served. Learn where and how you can legally carry a firearm in Arizona. Learn where you can use deadly force. Where can you display your gun or not for self-defense? Learn how to deal with law enforcement while carrying a firearm. Learn how to be aware of your surroundings and how to avoid a confrontation. Buy your gun without waiting for a background check. Get your Arizona concealed carry permit now. Go to www.azccw.us. Go to www.azccw.us. Free for single mothers and people with disabilities.
Here we are. I'm back here on the air. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna on KTOX 1340 AM. I was talking with my friend John from Kingman, from the Arizona State Militia. Now, he was asking me, by the way, after we finish our little segment here, interview, he texts me, say, hey, Luca, by the way, I forgot to ask you, but can we shoot the 5.56 NATO on the Freedom Rifle? And of course you can. Also, by the way, there is a nice article that I wrote. It's not even an article. It's like 15 reasons why you should buy at least one. Don't trade on us, the Freedom Rifle. And one of the reasons, of course, you can shoot both 5.56 NATO full pressure and, of course, the less pressure 223 Remington. But also you have another advantage because you technically can shoot 5.56 and 223 also with a regular 5.56 chamber. With a Freedom Rifle is chamber in 223 Wild. You can shoot both type of calibers, 5.56 and also 223, but also you can shoot heavier bullets in 5.56, like for example, 75 grains. Normally this chamber is used for competition also, because it offers opportunity to shoot and stabilize heavier bullets like the 75 grains. Something that normally with the regular 1:7 twist ratio, with the 5.56, you stick pretty much between the 55 and 62 grains. So this is a kind of very versatile upper chamber that was under my idea. I wanted to do something more than just the average 5.56 NATO, okay? I mean, think about it. Government can have billions of rounds on our tax dollar 5.56, no problem. They got by the truck. Civilians, working people, they can shoot whatever they can find. Sometimes you can find, you can afford 5.56, that's great. Sometimes you got to stick with the steel case, 55 grains. And that's another thing I found that I really like about this rifle, especially the Brown Bear. And I'm not endorsing that brand, I mean, he likes also Wolf, but Brown Bear, especially when you don't shoot beyond 130 degrees. And by the way, I know the average person would never even come close to the range for that weather, besides little crazy people like me. But yes, it's amazing how he loves to eat that steel brass. I mean, the steel case, not brass. Okay, so that's the story. So I hope I was able to explain that, yes, you can shoot both 5.56 and 223 Remington out of the Freedom Rifle. By the way, I got the trademark. I'm so proud. People say, wow. What do you mean? Why you're proud? Yeah, because I'm proud. I'm a guy that barely can speak English, and I was able to obtain a U.S. trademark of Don't Trade on Us, the Freedom Rifle. Yes, Don't Trade on Us, the Freedom Rifle trademark by luca-zanna. And I'm proud of this because it's an idea was born as an act of love. Seriously, I mean, there are thousands of ARs out there, okay? Who am I? I'm just a regular guy. I'm not one of these big companies, but I wanted to create a product that is affordable, it is quality, yes, lifetime warranty, and yes, also extra things that you normally don't get out of the average rifle. They give it to you at the shop. Not only we give you a copy of the Constitution in parchment, something that's very important. This is the idea who's behind the rifle. It's not just to shoot at paper targets. No, it's an idea, it's a right. Okay? We are the last line of defense to defend our republic. That's why we must have a rifle. I'm not even having a rifle for defending against, criminals or for self-defense. For self-defense, I got a 2x4 or a rock would be probably many times would be enough. I have a rifle because I want to defend this republic against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I don't even need to join a militia. I'm an individual. I'm here, and I stand with all of you at the same time. But the point is, it's a great rifle. Then you got a copy of the Constitution. You got a copy of my CD digital version, Don't Tread on Us, the name of the rifle. A beautiful T-shirt, Slaves Are Never Armed. Let me think about it. Magazine, 30 rounds magazine, USGI. Rear sight removable. I mean, it's amazing. You got ready to go. You don't need to, you can buy now many cheap rifles out there, but then they don't give you the front sight. They don't give you the rear sight. then it's going to cost you much more money than you thought. Instead, ready to go. Rear sight, A2 handle, removable. Once it's zero in, man, it stays there, doesn't move. So that's the story. And, of course, don't forget, if you live in Mojave County, I'd love to go shoot with you. Try to do that with Bushmaster or Armalite or any of these big names. They give you the rifle, you're gone. No, if you go shoot, let's go shoot together. I want to be sure you're happy. Maybe if you need some little help, guess what? I can give you some help in zeroing. And more important, you also can download a copy of the ebook that I'm putting chapters after chapters out, How to Become a Rifleman. You get a parchment with a password. You can log into the website, and you have a chance to have also this extra information for just $499. Now, that's enough. By the way, when you purchase the rifle, it's not just a rifle. It is also about supporting the show. That's the way I support this show and the things I do. This is not the government. This is not PBS that they start, your money through taxation. No, we are here as a free market. We try to offer you always the best we can. Most important, honest information, or at least what I think is true. If I'm wrong, I apologize. Come here on the show and I'll be happy to apologize in public if I say something wrong. But normally, everything comes out of my mouth. I really mean it. Okay, so that's the point. At this point, I need a way to bring this up. It takes me much of my energy. And, as I said, I don't have ambition to become a radio guy. I couldn't care less. So it's not like, I want to be on the air because I want to become the next whatever radio guy you may think. No, I couldn't care less. Honestly, I like to talk between myself. That's enough. My cat and my dogs, they're plenty with me as my audience. I don't need an audience. But guess what? I'm here right now. I took this as an opportunity. And I don't want to go around begging for sponsors, and of course then they tell you, by the way, I don't like what you said about 9/11. I don't like about what you're saying about Hillary. I don't like what you say about Bush. I can say whatever I damn please, and so you do. I don't care if you agree or not with me. When you come on the show, you don't need to agree with me. And I want to remind, on my Facebook page, it's different. On my Facebook page, I don't have mercy. I don't have the type of compassion. I don't have the type of, let's say, I'm not a saint. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm not here trying to convert you, to preach you, to make you see things the way I want to see them or to believe what I believe. No. On the show, I want you, especially if you disagree. But my Facebook page is the place where I would like to be surrounded by like-minded people. We are not married. We are not linked by blood. We don't live under the same roof. We don't have to see each other. No. It's called, if you somehow support Hillary or support Obama or any other fascist out there, guess what? We're not in common. So no big deal. Don't get offended. I'm not calling you names. I just say go in peace. Seriously, that's what I say. That's why I always remind that once in a while to my new Facebook friends, that's the story. And then, of course, if you get mad, then it's your problem because I have no drama there. But on the show, especially if you disagree with me, I want you on. Please, come on, okay? Anyway, that's the story. Now, let's talk about the class. This coming Saturday is coming here. We will start at 10 o'clock at Shots. By the way, we're pretty much almost done. We have only 2 or 3 places left. So I invite you really to go out there and, if you can, contact all Shots directly. But more important, you can email me at zanna@zanna.us, or even better, go to AZ, let me do it for you right now. Look, I'm going to do it right now. AZ CCW.us. And you will be redirected to the main page of the Arizona Concealed Carry Permit.com. Okay? You will see the class, you will see the curriculum, and also you will read the article, Why to Get an Arizona CCW Permit. The 6 advantages. As I said before, I'm pushing it because I want to give you this opportunity. If you're a single mother, or if maybe a single mom, the class is free. Especially if you are in need. Let's say, say money is short, no problem. We're not going to make any deal. It's going to be private information. You talk to me, I'll keep it private. Free, zero. You have just to pay the $60 DPS application fee to the state, not to me. But I will waive the $85, that is, by the way, is still considered the curriculum we go through, of the class. So that's pretty much the story. Same story, people with real disability. But hey, if you're disabled, if you got money, don't be a cheap bastard. Seriously, okay? Because I can see you. If you see that you drive a freaking $50,000 car, guess what? You're going to pay like everybody else, disabled or not, okay? That's the story. Anyway, at this point, I would like to focus on practical things because, I like to have guests, but also I like to talk a little bit about things that we can really use, benefit out of this hour. Okay, this is not just an hour talking about the latest gun. I couldn't care less. You buy whatever gun works for you. My goal is to get law-abiding people, okay, with the right to keep and bear arms. They will exercise this right in a very, let's say, responsible way. How are you going to be responsible? 2 ways. First of all, you need to know the laws. You don't want to be somebody that just, is an idiot out there. We don't need gun owners that were idiots. We need gun owners that they must be above the average standard of a law-abiding person. We are going to be held, at a higher standard. That's a fact. So first of all, I would like to say, you need to know the laws. You need to know the laws how to use, when to use deadly force, if you really have to. More important, I say I can teach you everything, but I cannot teach you attitude. If you're a jerk, nothing I can do. You gotta go to talk to yourself, talk to your pastor, to your father, to your mother, wherever you can talk to, and try to get better. And then you come back, and then we can talk about the rest of the stuff. So more important, you must have a good attitude about everything. Attitude about learning. I hate when I see people, I know that, I don't want to do that, I know it, I know. By the way, I've been doing this for 15 years. Okay, I know it. Guess what? If you know it, why are you even here? Seriously, that's the wrong attitude. Sometimes I go to places that I know that probably I know little more than them, and I still learn something. And even when they teach me something different, I open my mind, I let go everything else I already knew, and I say, you know what, that's fine. Then I can always go back and do it. But now maybe I can learn something new. That's the attitude. We are there to learn, and we are there to be responsible gun owners. Okay? So the bottom line is, we will talk during the class about using deadly physical force. But more important, you must know, I am not a lawyer. And I'm not going to give you any legal advice. Because at the end of the day, or a lawyer can give you legal advice, or a peace officer, that's certified by the state, knowing the laws. I'm somebody who's been reading. I can share with you the laws, and I can at least read them to you and give you my opinion. That is not even about how to do it, when to do it, but at least an opinion about what it is, the law. Now, most importantly, we must understand a gun, in general, is a tool to use only as last resort. This is the most important thing. You have many other options. The other option there will be, first of all, avoid the situation. If you're aware of your surrounding, we talked probably last time about it, the different levels of, awareness. You should never be in that situation anyway. You missed already a couple of steps. You didn't see it coming. But if you really have the chance, evacuate. Run. Get out. You're not there to prove any point. You're not going to get a medal after the shooting. You're not going to get a check from somebody. You're not going to get any type of front page. Oh, my God, a new hero. No, you're probably going to get arrested. You're probably going to get on the front page, probably under investigation. And then you have some members of your family going to say, oh, you really had to do that? And then you're going to have probably $50,000 legal fees coming on your way. And sometimes not, because sometimes, hopefully you are in right all the way, clean cut. Still, you're going to live the rest of your life with something that may be not probably bothering you that much, maybe that moment, but guess what? Even a scumbag life is always a human life. And we are not here to kill. That's the most important thing. We are not here to kill anybody. We are here to save life. We are here to stop threats. That's it. For me, the way I look at these guns, save innocent life, never kill. And at the end of the day, even if you have the opportunity, even if it is in your right, always try to avoid to use deadly force. Even if you have all the justification. If I have a chance, why should I do it? Let the cops handle the situation. But there are some situations that you don't have any option. At that point, the question is, when can you shoot? And there are different states, different laws, okay? You go to California, guess what? Or New York, probably you're better off, they shoot you and rape you, and you're going to be probably much less in danger if you're going to defend yourself. But still, no matter where you are in the world, I believe that every human being has the right of self-defense. And there is some sort of a general universal law, at least a concept, applies to self-defense, using deadly force for self-defense. You must have a reasonable fear of immediate or unavoidable danger of death or serious bodily injury to an innocent person or yourself. Let me read it again. A reasonable fear of immediate or unavoidable danger of death or seriously bodily injury to an innocent person. So, that's the general universal. Some states, like, for example, of course, Arizona, we have much more rights in self-defense than many other states like New York or other states like California. But in general, that's the law that applies to everywhere. What means reasonable? Means fair. Means that, you're going to be judged reasonable by 12 of your peers. So be sure that, makes sense. Can you articulate? Immediate. Fear must be immediate, not imminent. Means that's going to happen very soon. Immediate. Means that it's going to happen now. So this is a huge difference. So you must know that you have no other chance. You can't run. Unavoidable. You cannot prevent it. You cannot avoid it. You try everything. Of course. We have now, of course, the last few years, also the Castle Doctrine law here. We can stand our ground. But if you can, remember, the best fight is always the one you can avoid it. Then when it says danger of death, yeah, that is pretty simple. End of life. Innocent. You must not be guilty of a crime. If you're a freaking criminal out there, committing a robbery or whatever, no, you don't have the right. Seriously bodily injury, doesn't mean that you need to die, but you know what? Somebody can break your neck or, put you in a permanently damage on you. That's serious bodily injury. A black eye or a slap, no, that's not it, okay? Now, when it says reasonable, very important. When it says immediate danger of death and seriously bodily danger is reasonable, there must be three elements. First of all, the intent. The attacker must show you with his actions or words his intention to kill or to cause seriously bodily injury. How? You must have the opportunity. Remember, somebody has, let's say, that is a black belt of karate or something like that, even with no guns, that guy could be deadly. He has an opportunity. If he has a gun, has an opportunity, Then, of course, we can go into details. What distance you can justify the usually deadly force depends, every time is different. Because somebody can have, let's say, 20 feet, a knife could be already too close. But somebody's, let's say, with a knife at 200 yards, that's not danger. It's not immediate danger. You can run. But 200 yards with a rifle, yes, that could be immediate. That can give you a headshot if somebody knows how to shoot. Okay, so that's the story. Ability. The attacker possesses the physical ability of inflicting seriously bodily injury or death. Yes, he can. Can use a firearm or any type of other weapons. So that's the point. If you have any doubt about using deadly force, my answer is probably you should not use it. Simple as that. This is just a little example of what we're going to go through during the class. And there is much more. I'm going to talk, for example, about the Arizona laws, Arizona revised statutes, that pretty much talk about self-defense. When can you really shoot somebody? And as I said, I'm no lawyer here, because I'm not giving you legal advice. I'm just reading to you the statutes. Then it's your duty of a law-abiding person to seek more legal advice and try to figure it out really and study this stuff. You don't want to just guess. You must know your rights. You must also know your limitation. You must know the laws. Okay? I'll give you just an idea. For example, technically, all the self-defense, situation in our Arizona revised statute is in ARS 13404. Okay? Self-defense. Only when someone is about to kill or maim, you can shoot at them. Then there is, of course, you can also defend a third person. If there is an innocent person, you are allowed to shoot to save a life, to stop the threat. Okay? Yeah, the statutes say, about to kill is only to, self-defense only when someone is about to kill. The point is we are not here to kill. We are to save lives. Okay? Then, of course, defenses of premises. Okay, you think you can shoot somebody just because he's, let's say, trespassing? Or you shoot somebody because you want to protect your property? No, you can't. Deadly force, you can threaten deadly force to protect your property, but you cannot shoot to protect your property. People say, wait a second, I can shoot if somebody is trespassing? No, you can't. Unless there is some justification, like we were saying before. Is your life in immediate danger? That's another story. For example, you can shoot to prevent certain crimes in case there is an arson of occupied structure. Somebody's burning the house and there is your kid inside you, or maybe you are inside the house. Yes, ARS 131704, you can read it, justifies use the deadly force. Or first or second degree burglary, ARS 1507, 1508. That's not the situation. Let's say somebody's trying to break into your home and you fear for your life, and at the same time, they try to come there. Breaking the law, that means also they are committing a felony, burglary. You have the right. Doesn't mean that you have to do it. I mean, somebody's breaking my home. Well, honestly, I don't want to tell you what's going on, but if I can avoid the confrontation, if I can avoid to shoot him, I always try to avoid violence. But if I have no choice and I see you face to face and you're not running away, I'm sorry. I may be really thinking that you're really coming for my life at that point. Okay? Because the idea is a criminal may have pretty much three options. One is to surrender. Okay, that's good. You call the cops and hopefully everything goes through. One is to run. Let them run. Let them run. You're not here to do any type of arrest. Let the cops handle it. You just want to be sure your family is safe, you're safe. And third, they may attack. At that point, you draw the line in the sand. Now, game is over. No more thinking. They decided. They started the fight. You will finish it. Simple as that. Okay? And I'm not here to tell you you're going to kill. No, you're not kill anybody. You stop the threat. Simple as that. So anyway, that gives an idea. Then, of course, we talk about kidnapping. You justify to use a deadly force in kidnapping. ARS 131304. Manslaughter. First to second degree murder. I mean, this is so much to learn, and it's good. Because I think we should be proud to learn all these things when we carry a weapon, a gun. It is our duty to be the best we can, not just in the marksmanship, but also in our knowledge of the laws. Okay? By the way, sexual assault. Many European countries, you are not justified to use deadly force to save an innocent from sexual assault. Think about how evil is that law. We were talking about, with Soren, the lady from Denmark. A woman was trying to be raped. And she tried to defend herself with a little, squirt gun. What is that? Pepper spray. She got charged. Imagine if she had a gun. Imagine if maybe a friend had a knife and stopped the bastard, with whatever he had. He would be arrested. Serious charges. Here in Arizona, thank God, if somebody is committing a sexual assault, according to ARS 131406, you have the opportunity to stop the crime, even with deadly force, I didn't say you have to do it, but you have that situation if you can reasonably justify that. I think that's very important to know. Child molestation, armed robbery, aggravated assault. So this is the thing we will talk about it. But more important during the class, what I like to do escalation of force scenarios, when to shoot or not to shoot. Because sometimes, you can talk about these things, okay, but then you need to start to do really practical examples in the class. And by the way, in the class, nobody really is allowed to have loaded weapon. We have security outside, but no, nobody inside will have loaded weapon because we want to be safe about that. But we will use SIRT guns, laser guns, red guns, plastic guns, and we can start to do scenarios. Okay? Somebody's opening the door right now and is walking with a rifle, for example, on sling. And you say, hi, how you doing, guys? Okay, no, because he's walking with a rifle on sling, it means you start shooting. This is Arizona after all. Maybe just carrying the rifle to enjoy Second Amendment. Or maybe he should bring in the rifle because he wants to sell it. Okay. Yeah, you want to be alert a little bit. You want to be, okay, what's going on? Do I know this guy? What is he doing? Is he holding it the right way? Is on sling? How does he dress? How is he acting? And that's the most important thing, be aware. But at the same time, let's say somebody instead comes inside the room right now and he has a ski mask, okay, or a black mask or whatever, and he has a trench and it's middle of summertime. I'm already having a little problem with that. And then out of the blue, he presents, I'll open the trench, he has a shotgun, a saw-off shotgun. Well, I don't think that's, even if he's let's put it this way, Carnival or Halloween, that's going to be a very bad trick-or-treat situation he's going to find himself in. Okay? So, the point is, at that point, you start to have a different type of situation in your mind. You need to start to be prepared. Same story, you're at the restaurant. You already know where to go out in case you need to evacuate. Okay, you always have your eyes facing the entrance, looking at where people are coming inside. Look, these bastards now, they're evil. Look what happened. They tried to kill cops when they're having a break during lunch. Even cops, they're trained people. But sometimes, all you have to do, one split second, you put down your eyes, try to grab a sandwich, and bang, they shoot you in the back. So awareness is fundamental. All right, I think that's enough for now. Listen, I'm going to try to talk to you, of course, next Sunday. Meanwhile, enjoy the last hour of the show. It's going to be a great interview. We have two great interviews, one from Canada, one from Michigan. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna. Do not go away. Ciao.
It is time. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now with Arizona Concealed Carry Permit by Zanna Enterprises, LLC. Become a more responsible and educated gun owner. Carry legally concealed in 35 states. Carry permitted in restaurants where alcohol is served. Learn where and how you can legally carry a firearm in Arizona. Learn where you can use deadly force. Where can you display your gun or not for self-defense? Learn how to deal with law enforcement while carrying a firearm. Learn how to be aware of your surroundings and how to avoid a confrontation. Buy your gun without waiting for a background check. Get your Arizona Concealed Carry Permit now. Go to www.azccw.us. Go to www.azccw.us. Free for single mothers and people with disabilities.
Have you ever met someone on an online dating site and thought, wow, this guy is perfect for me, or she is simply amazing, only to find out they were hiding a deep, dark secret? They plan to vote for Hillary. FreedomLovers.us was created for singles who want to exchange ideas and a love for freedom. People who are looking for solutions to create and defend freedom in the real world, and at the same time, getting that once-in-a-lifetime chance to find their true soulmate. Whether you are interested in meeting your soulmate, making new friends, networking, or hanging out with that like-minded liberty lover, visit FreedomLovers.us. It's the first free dating site and community. So patriots, don't waste your time with other dating sites. FreedomLovers.us is the place where like-minded singles really click.
Here we go. This is the final hour. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with luca-zanna, and there are some breaking news. Yes, today is Sunday. Of course, the news didn't break today. It was a couple days ago. But when I hear this type of news, I need to, even, of course, my show is not like about just fresh news. After all, we are here on the air on Love, Guns, and Freedom as a weekly show. So it's hard for me to bring you the latest news, But when this happens so recently, like when it happened a couple of days ago, and I'm talking about the situation in Florida at the airport, okay? This is supposed to be discharged National Guard guy, supposedly sympathizing with ISIS. A lot of things that, for me, don't add up here. So I need to focus for a moment. And I would like to start to think that maybe there is more than we've been told. So this is very important, why I'm doing this. This is not just, after all, people can say, by the way, there are criminals every day. And, of course, this is very brutal. The way it happened, it was really with no reason, okay? Cold murdering people and cold blood like that. Out of the blue, people say, wow, it must be a crazy person. Maybe. Maybe not. Why am I putting extra effort in talking about this? Because I really believe, and we will go through now some more details, for what I've seen just from the first fresh batch of propaganda news, because remember, whatever they give us on the news, it's always filtered, must be approved, okay? Nothing really is the way it's supposed to be, unfiltered. Everything on mainstream news, we hear only what we're supposed to hear. We watch only what we're supposed to watch. So, but whatever information we've been given so far is disturbing. There are a lot of things for me that they're really very dangerously scary. First of all, I have with me right now my friend Ken Rhoades from Michigan that a couple of years ago almost, introduced me to this crazy topic, that is not crazy by the way, of targeted individuals. And more important about, technology that is not even that recent, where governments been using these technologies and this science, if you want, to manipulate people's mind, to use them like little puppets, little robots, like Manchurian candidates. And people will say, oh, that's another conspiracy. You know what? That's fine. If you want to dismiss it as a conspiracy, that's your right. Change channel, get drunk with some cheap beer, and listen to football. Fine with me. I couldn't care less. But the situation, what's happening here, it's very serious that can endanger all humanity. I mean, MK Ultra in the 70s was just a little like a Boy Scout plan compared to what we have right now with the science that we have right now. The classified documents prove that. It's real. It was real. And now they can pretty much do much more sinister things on mass scale. I mean, one thing that really disturbed me about this National Guard guy, Ken is going to give us more details now as we go in, but something's very weird for me. First of all, I mean, think about it. We have already right now, the last few years, this no-fly list for Americans. Just because suspicious, just because they don't like your face, just because maybe you put too many complaints on Facebook about corruption in the government or anything. They don't need to give you any type of justification. There is no due process, no trial. Just because you are paying the ass and you don't bow down to the government, you can put on the no-fly list. Think about it. Think about that. But this guy was able to, of course, fly, no problem. Not only fly, after he was already in evaluation with the FBI, and according to the news, he was gone directly to the police to say he has problems. And I heard that just a couple of days ago on Fox News, if I well remember, for a moment they said, by the way, this guy was saying that the army was trying to take in to his brain. So let's put it this way, best case scenario, this guy has some mental problem. But guess what? No, he was able to fly. Then according to the news, this guy is an ISIS sympathizer. Guess what? Doesn't matter. He was able to buy a gun. And I'm all for, let's say, Second Amendment, as you know. I mean, think about it. Listen to the show. But the point is, guess what? If you are a law-abiding American, just because maybe you are collecting Social Security and you are, let's say, on some sort of disability, the Obama administration made it clear that you cannot have that right anymore. Or if you're a veteran and maybe you had a couple of times to go to ask for some help for some post-traumatic stress, they will not give you anymore your Second Amendment rights. But this guy not only was able to fly, no problems on the plane, but at the same time he was able to buy a gun, carry a gun and ammunition. And meanwhile, the FBI, they were monitoring him. Really? Who wrote that crap? So no, I don't believe the first thing the government tell us right now through the news that the guy was just some sort of, ISIS boogeyman. Yes, we know ISIS is being founded and created somehow by this administration. But now, I'd like to know why. There is more. Are they using or they've been using some sort of mind control? What is their angle? Are we close to the elections? To the final part of the new president to be officially inaugurated. So what is exactly trying to do? Some sort of a cry over or gun control, probably. But there is more, I believe. Let me bring Ken Rhoades from Michigan that I really would like to hear what he has to say. Hi, Ken. How are you?
I'm fine, Luca. Thank you for having me on today. Hey, but Luca, let me get started on this because this is very important. The first thing they do, they're trying to hide this technology behind mental health, and they've been. Every time they have a shooter, like Myron May, Aaron Alexis, they hide it. They're trying to hide the technology behind the mental health. Well, it's not the mental health. To start with, look, our psychiatrists, and not all of them are bad. They're just they're educated wrong. They're educated to, if you come in and say you're hearing voices, that they're supposed to put you under observation, check you out for a couple of weeks, and get you on some kind of medication. Mm-hmm. Well, when they get you on that medication, that makes your mind easier to program. Now, he went to the FBI in Anchorage and told them he was hearing voices, and he said they was putting ISIS images in his head, making him watch the videos of ISIS. And then, plus, CBS reported he was hearing voices. Well, you know, that, to me, then they come out, the mental health. No, our government can put the voices in your head. I went to see Eric Trump and gave him papers with all the patents on it, and I gave him a handwritten letter from me about what they're doing. That's how important I think this is. I went out of my way to go see his son because I knew I couldn't get to Donald Trump because of security, but I knew his son, and hopefully he'd give his dad the letter. He said he would.
Ken, let me stop
in Fort Lauderdale,
yes,
the airport shooting, when somebody's hearing voices, they can take this person over, could totally take you over. And a lot of people say, well, they can't do that. But they can do that. They can literally take you over with this technology and have you do anything they want to. Now, is he the only one that did the shooting? I don't know. I wasn't there. But I know when Aaron Alexis went to Navy Yard shooting, they said there was 12 people he killed. I really don't believe he killed all 12 people with the shotgun on the side of the gun. He had ELF, extremely low frequency. He said, this is my ELF weapon. So they are using these people, and this has been going on for a long time. It started out in the mental hospitals way back in the 40s. Then it went into the prison system. They experimented. Then they started adding a lot of civilians to this program, and then they went into the military with it. So you're hearing a lot of people. I don't know if you remember Colonel Roy Potter. He went into the doctor because something was wrong with him, and the doctor asked him, what is it? Is your chip giving you problems? So he said he knew what the doctor was talking about, so he didn't know anything about it. He had a chip.
Wow.
But he told him, no, my chip's not giving me a problem. And Colonel Roy Potter, they came after him as soon as he started putting the stuff out there. Then he got cancer. I hadn't talked to him in a long time, so hopefully that by God's grace that he's still doing good.
You know, one thing is true.
If you want to ask me a couple questions, or if you want to put something in, let me know.
Yes, you know, the point is pretty simple here. First of all, I say we must have an open mind to everything. I do not trust anything coming out of that box called television. And the last election is supposed to prove that. I mean, before, you know, some of these conservative Republicans, they used to call us some sort of, you know, what do you want to say, conspiracy theory, because the news, after all, the news, they are the news, you know, even, of course, there is the left news, the right news. The right news must be good because the left is bad. No, I believe that all news out there in networks, they have some sort of control. So I am always questioning anything coming out of that box. I don't care which station. Okay. Now, but sometimes you need to start to put bits and pieces together, and you start to see that there is some sort of, let's say, like a puzzle, something that we cannot underestimate, something that we cannot just say, okay, I didn't hear that. When I heard that part on Fox News, that according to the source, this former National Guard guy, okay, said that the army was trying to get into his brain, you know, I can say both sides. Oh, maybe the guy is crazy. Oh, wait a second. This is not the first time happened. I mean, let's not forget many other situations that we have proofs of these programs. Now, another thing very strange. The FBI was monitoring this person. We know that, like it or not, funny or not, the guy was some sort fitting the profile of a threat. I mean, he's supposed not even to have a slingshot. Forget about having a handgun. You know, if you are, let's say, coming with domestic violence misdemeanor 20 years ago in this country, they will never give you a gun unless you spend tons of dollars, thousands of dollars to try to change that, to completely remove that out of your record, okay? Of your record. So the point is, this guy, he had all the profile to be an ISIS lover, and on top he was this sort of a violent person. He had the domestic violence situation. He beat up his wife, according to the source of the news. So he's supposed not to have that gun, period. Not only they gave him the gun, he also let him go on a plane with the gun. So they wanted somehow for him to go wherever he was going to. Now, why? Why Florida? Why he did what he did, and then he stopped. He just completely finished the ammo, he sit down, come and arrest me. That was not even the right behavior of, let's say, an ISIS lover wannabe terrorist. Normally they blow themselves up, or I don't know, they shoot themselves. So it really stinks. What do you think?
Well, I think, Luca, once they got him, then now they can control him, and we won't hear another word from him. Because they've already got too much out there when they say he's hearing voices. That's something they try to hide behind the mental illness. But they were, I firmly do believe that they were trying to control him, or they were controlling him. Kenny talked about this back when when he said that what they were doing, the Warren Commission went in 1975 and investigated, and then after that it just went darker. But Bill Clinton apologized, I think it's 75 or 77, for what the CIA had done.
Yeah.
So this is not something new that just started happening. But my thing is, Lucas, that they're putting too many people into it, and I think it's getting ready to come out. So they won't, and they got a lot of people out here that are hearing voices. I mean, thousands and thousands of people. So if you go to the FBI or the police and say you're hearing voices, then that's going to give them the excuse to put you into a mental ward.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of different reasons why they're doing it. Look at Karen Stewart. You interviewed her. NSA for 28 years. She kind of blew the whistle on them. Now they're hitting her with the frequencies in her face, in her back, all over. This is very evil people.
Listen, I tell you something. Just a couple years ago, I had no idea about all this. But all it takes, people, to have, in this case, what I say, not even an open mind, just to be honest with yourself and say, do you want to know the truth, or you want to just hide behind a stupid smile and sarcasm and a couple of bumper stickers like you must have a tinfoil hat? It's up to you, seriously. Because the point is, this stuff is serious. Now, the problem is many people out there, and that's what really made me sad, they have not the courage to face the truth. Why? First of all, because the truth sometimes can hurt. Oh, my government will never do that. Guess what? All governments, they've been doing this, or at least any government who has enough power. Unfortunately, government made by humans, and humans are corruptible. And when they have power, they want more power. That's the bottom line. And they will misuse that power. At the beginning, they may say, you know what, this is for a good cause. We're going to save us from the bad people. Guess what? Then we are the bad people. But the problem is another one. When people find out the truth, then they need to do something. And some of these people, unfortunately, are lazy and they're cowards. That's the reality. That's why they want to hide behind a finger and say, you know what, I think you're just crazy. Move on. Give me another bottle of beer. And that's fine. It's up to you. But I'm trying to reach out for the people that say, wait a second, maybe Zanna is not that crazy. Maybe this Ken from Michigan is not that crazy. Maybe they got something going on. All I say, just go out there and do your research on mind control through governments, starting from MK Ultra and going all the way down into the rabbit hole. The last, just, we are completely to another level now, what they can do with the electronic waves and microwaves and satellites. They can completely read your brain. Seriously. So the point is, at least have an open mind and admit that the science and patents are right there. Then you can decide according to proofs. And I always say, look just, for example, the declassified documents of experimentation on civilians and poor military, because these soldiers, they've been used like guinea pigs the last 80, 50 years at least. How many times government, without our consent, they've been experimenting on us, not just mind control, on many other things, from syphilis to viruses to chemtrails, anything, declassified, check it out. Then at that point you may say, well, if this bastard, they scam us one, maybe they can do it again. And then at that point, you start to have an open mind to say, let's see, everything can be an opportunity to have this problem. And only then, when we realize this is true, we will be able to stop it. That's why I'm talking about this on the air. I'm not talking because I want to create some sort of, I don't know, hysteria or sensationalism or scandal. No, because this is real. And I tell you, when they can control your mind, you are no more free. You're going to be a slave. And unfortunately, they will use you for everything they wish and everything they want. And they can make you do very bad deeds, like even killing somebody else. They do assassination in the spy world using mind control. People, they forget what they've done. They same on agents. They are under some medication and special mind control that they do what they have to do. They kill, and then they forget their mission. That's a fact. I mean, tell us, remind us a little bit. I want to use this time to give a little bit just a generic view of the technology that they have right now, this government and many other governments out there, to mind control human beings.
Okay. If you go in and you can Google up Barry Trower, he's a scientist out of England. And he said that they can hit you, I think it was 17.1 frequency, and make you really irritated. So if they've been hitting you with these microwave weapons all night, Luca, and you get up in the morning, your head's hurting and you're not feeling good, then they turn the 17.1 frequency on you to make you agitated, mad, and then who knows what you're going to do. So I'm going to tell the people out there, if you have a family, this is getting very widespread right now, so if you have a family member or a friend or somebody tells you they're hearing voices, you do not take them to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrists don't ask them, what are you hearing? They just say, I'm hearing voices. The psychiatrist will shoot you up with drugs. What are you hearing? People are literally talking to you and answering your question and talking back. That ain't a mental health. That's a technology issue. So if people are going to run their relatives to a psychiatrist, just like this guy, the shooter in Florida, his family said, he's been seeing a psychiatrist, he's been doing this, he's been doing that. Well, that was the worst thing for him. And I'm not trying to say all psychiatrists are bad. They're just trained through medical school or whatever they are. I don't know how you can be trained to figure out if somebody's mentally ill or not. I mean, I talk to people, I know that they're not the smartest people in the world, and I'm not the smartest person in the world. But I know if they tell me they're hearing voices, I'm going to ask them, what are you hearing? Well, they're telling them to commit suicide. They're answering their question. They tell them something, tell them, no, you ain't going to do that. So these are literally talking you and answering your questions. Now, how does that come out to be a mental illness?
Yes.
So, and people better get the grip on this, Luca, because it's getting more and more widespread, and they are going to try to hide it behind the mental health. I hear that Obama signed a law in a couple weeks ago that they can send the police to your house if anybody complains. Used to it had to be a relative, a wife, or brother, or somebody that would go sign you into a mental ward. Now they don't have to do that in our free country. They can come out to your house and say you're crazy, take you into a mental health, and start shooting you up with drugs.
Yeah.
Now, your neighbors and all the people you know say, well, he wasn't real smart. Maybe he has something wrong with him. Well, wait till they come for you, because your turn. Everybody don't want to believe this. Your turn is going to be coming, because they plan on controlling the world with this technology.
Ken, I remember when you showed me the technology voice to skull. That, of course, the military has the real high dollars version, but you can able to buy also the civilian version. And I'm just curious about, can you please tell us a little bit about these instruments that I know that you can also buy, or you were able to buy overseas on eBay. What exactly does this technology?
You can buy it right here. It's called Audio Spotlight. And they make one that's not near as powerful as what the government got. The government can send this thing from 1,000 miles in the frequencies to you. But the Audio Spotlight, I bought one. I was going to demonstrate to people. Then I had trouble hooking it up. I gave it to Pete Santelli, and he got it hooked up. But you can point it. You can take 100 people in a crowd, and you get it pinpointed to one person, You can talk to him, but yet everybody around him can't hear a word. And you can buy that right here in the United States. It's called Audio Spotlight. They play music for him. You go stand in one circle in a store and the music turns on. And this is very low technology. What the government's got is probably 10,000 times more potent than that.
Interesting. This is exactly my point. If they can, I mean, the technology is out there. All they need to do is point this machine to you. And, of course, this is the low-level technology. They may have technology that you don't even see it pointing this stuff at you, of course. You can hear voices. You can hear Allah talking to you. You can hear Jesus Christ or whatever religion you believe talking to you. And at that point, if you're already primed with some sort of belief, like, I really believe, for example, that this Muslim, unfortunately, they are a danger. I tell you why. Because their book is full of hate. Simple as that. I'm not saying that every Muslim is going to be a good Muslim. That means it's going to follow their book. But unfortunately, if you are a very good Muslim, you are somehow propense to be, let's say, used for these purposes. All you have to do is say, okay, Allah just told you that, the Prophet told you that you got to go there and blow yourself up, or go to the airport and start to shoot everybody. They look at you wrong. I mean, it's possible. So they can control your mind, and they can give you that little extra sparkle to do what you have to do. So I believe this is real. I also believe that, yes, there are useful idiots out there, that they're already ready to be used. So my point is, what can we do? First of all, we must acknowledge the facts, that not everything we hear on the news, it is the way it is. Because otherwise, if they can somehow make us believe their lies, they control us. We need to start to show them that we don't believe anymore to the garbage. In the last elections, I hope, at least one thing we accomplished besides, stopping Hillary, also that we prove that behind the screens, behind these curtains, there is a fraud. All these news, they are a fraud. Their polls are a fraud. Their news anchors, they are a fraud. They are all saying lies. And that was about Trump, of course, but next time could be for another thing. So we got to watch this. And at that point, when we expose their lies, we must say, wait a second, we want the truth now. We want to start to know really about these programs. And only when we expose them, we can start to stop them. That's the reality. I want to give you the floor, Ken. Whatever you want to say, you got 2 minutes.
Right. You know what? I haven't heard the gun control, the drums beating on the gun control. So now I don't know. This is kind of puzzling to me because usually they do this for gun control. Look at Sandy Hook. A lot of people think that really happened, but if you go to Sandy Hook and Google up Wheeler, he was supposed to be a father of one of the kids, but yet in the videos that they took and they put out, they show him with the FBI across his front carrying 2 rifles. He was an actor. Nobody got killed at Sandy Hook as far as I'm concerned. But this case here in Florida, I do not believe this guy was an actor. I believe he was more of a controlled person.
Yeah. No, I believe something is wrong for sure. Something doesn't add up. Do I know everything? No. But unfortunately, I really believe that without the conspiracy part, let's put it this way. The fact that FBI had this person under surveillance, they already knew. This person supposedly went to the law enforcement, said that he was crazy, and they dismissed him. The guy was dishonorable discharged, correct me if I'm wrong, from the National Guard, and he was able to have a gun. And then he was able, even he has a record of domestic violence, and still had a gun. And then he was able to jump on the plane with a gun and ammunition. I mean, any one of us, law-abiding person, for even doing not even close to that, we would never. You go to try to buy a gun, bang, you would be banned. You go probably to the airport, and I heard friends, they have no criminal record, nothing, just because of their Facebook post. I had a guest on the show, a guy from Michigan. He was on the no-fly list just because on his Facebook, about his Facebook friend, post. And they were not even about that crazy, just regular stuff. Obama sucks. Simple as that. And so Hillary.
Right.
Okay, that's it. That was enough. Go ahead.
Let me give your listeners a website. It's called biggerthansnowden.com.
Okay.
Biggerthansnowden.com. And that's a good place to start doing your research because there's a lot of medical doctors, there's a lot of lawyers, there's a lot of scientists.
Good.
There's a lot of people that went through a lot of college, and now they're being targeted. So it's a good place to find all the people that's being targeted, you find, and you can do a lot of research on that.
Yeah. No, this is important. I'm talking about science, guys. I'm talking about patents. I'm talking about things I can improve. I would never brought here Ken and any of the guests about targeted individuals if I did not do my research about this is real. That's the point. The facts are out there. It doesn't mean that every time we hear a sad story that this is mind control. I didn't say that, but I tell you the technology is out there. There is a record of using it, okay? Even in our own country, even against our own people, civilians, yes, it's proven. Now, just to let you know, local ABC News, Channel 10, okay? This is directly from their website, official. Shooter told the FBI the government controlled his mind. I mean, how can I just ignore this news, Ken? How can we ignore this? This is come from mainstream news, not even from some website, okay, InfoWars or anything. This is directly from ABC Channel 10, okay? And there is an article. Right. So I say we need to start to have an open mind and connect the dots. That's all I'm saying. All right, listen, Ken, I need to let you go, but thank you again. And please, if you have any other things going on, updates, give me a call back and we'll bring you back on, okay?
Thank you, Luca, for having me.
Thank you, my friend. Okay, listen, this is very important, guys, okay? I'm telling you. I don't know any other radio station. I'm talking about on the air. On the internet, you know, people somehow still can say everything they want. But on the air, on FCC rules, this is one of the few stations we can talk about this. I would have been fired so many times, even, of course, I've never been hired because I work for myself. I don't work for the station. But still, this information, just this conversation would have been burned. They would never be allowed to be on the air. So I tell you something, regardless if you believe it or not, this is about also freedom of speech. If you want to support the show, more important, support the station. KTOX 1340 AM, you know, support the sponsors. And, of course, if you want to support this show in particular, luca-zanna, Love, Guns, and Freedom, there are many ways you can. And one way I remind you, you can go to Zanna, www.zanna.us. You can see what I do. I write poems, I write songs. You can download songs for just 99 cents, or you can download my new book, Lyrics and Poems, on Amazon for $2.99, or buy Zanna coffee. All the things you can find. I appreciate your help. A little break. Now we have another guest. Do not go away.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart. Gianluca Zanna's new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca-Zanna. This is the final hour, the hour about love. And I tell you something, you know, this is going to be the hour that normally we talk about humanity. Because that's the thing for me that completely is common to every one of us. Love and humanity, it is our common denominator. And, you know, we have different form of loves. You know, we talk about brotherly love, fatherly love, sensual love, love between man and woman, you know, and that's very important. But I think there is one type of love that I really would like to share. It's the love of every human being has for freedom and for the truth. And at the end of the day, you know, we are here trying to face our humanity, our reality. No matter if you live in Canada, if you live in America. And sometimes, you know, it's an evolution. You know, it's a learning process. I always say we're all ignorant. I was ignorant. I'm still ignorant on many topics, and I hope to learn more. And I tell you, when it comes down to 9/11, I am not shy about it. I tell you from my gut. It was a fraud. It was based on a lie. Now, people may say, oh, you must hate America. No, I don't hate America. I love America so much that I'm ready to be ridiculized, to even be, I don't know, you want to throw tomatoes at me, that's fine, because I stand for the truth. I stand for the principles of this country. More important, I took an oath to defend this republic against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And if I have enough evidence that there was a fraud and there were lies and that we were misled to go to these wars, that, by the way, they're not even real wars, they were conflicts. And people say, oh, what are you talking about? Yes, if an immigrant like myself is able to figure it out, according to the Constitution, the last war that we fought was World War II, declared by Congress. Everything else since the Korean War, they were just conflicts under the United Nations with the mandate of the United Nations. So let's be straight and fair. Now, this is not the show I'm going to talk about 9/11 because, you know, I tell you, there is so much information with the last, since 2001. Probably you heard many shows about it. But I want to give you just two basic things. Maybe you are new, maybe you're just waking up. You can dig into this. Go, first of all, think about Building 7. Okay? Never even put it on the official lies of the 9/11 tale of the government book. No. Building 7 fell as like magic, you know, free fall. Nothing ever hit. No plane hit Building 7. So, something to think, your brain, you know, let's say, think about it. More important, think about the Pentagon. I mean, there was a hole that is exactly the size of a freaking missile. There were no any type of residual engine of airplanes, carcass, or bodies, or anything you can imagine that, you know, proven history that any plane of that size that would fall and crash in a building, you would see completely humongous remains, okay? So the right day, even my dogs and chickens can understand that basic two things. And then, of course, you can go to so many other topics. So the point is, whatever we went there, it wasn't about what we were told. And I tell you, the first few days, I was one of the ignorant. I believed the propaganda. Say, oh, my God, these are, what is his name? Saddam, weapons of mass destruction. Oh, yes, by the way, I forgot to tell you, when you learn the history, first of all, yes, we found out that Saddam was not connected at all with 9/11. And if he had weapons of mass destruction, they were given during the 80s, during the Iran-Iraq war, by the CIA. So that's another story, too. But now my point is this. Where am I going to? This is the hour about love, I said. I want to bring a human being. And in this case, he's not an American, he's Canadian. But when we share the same values of freedom, and also to try to learn the truth, I consider myself, this man, like a brother, even, of course, from another mother. So I really like to know his input. Doesn't mean that I agree with him about everything. I don't even know his stance about all this. But I know that he went there, he joined his Canadian Royal Army, and he saw things that probably we didn't see, because normally the news, they just give you the heroic version, the movie version. This is no movie. This is no Rambo. There is no replay. People die. Your brothers and sisters, suffer. So civilians, innocent civilians, suffer too. And it's lucky, this man, that he came back on his two legs, because he got really seriously injured. His name is Tyrssen. He's from Canada. Tyrssen, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to talk to you on this show.
Likewise.
And please, first of all, introduce a little bit yourself. You're a young man. Give me an idea, how old are you, and exactly what is your background?
I'm 32 years old. I've lived in Vancouver, Canada since I was about 3 years old, or as long as I can remember anyways. I grew up out here. My family is originally from back in Norway, in western Norway. And, I remember, actually, when you talk about 9/11 there, I always thought that Building 7 was kind of weird, even back when I bought all that BS. Nothing hit that thing. But, what do I know? The only time in history 3 steel girder buildings came down from fire, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But,
exactly.
Anyways, that happened when I was in the 11th grade. And I remember that morning I woke up, and already everyone in the house was awake and watching on TV. And that was a really surreal moment. I remember it clear as day. Seeing those. Let me see. Yeah, when I woke up, the second plane had just hit, and it was about 5 minutes after that. My cousin, he'd already been in the Canadian Armed Forces for about 4 years at that point. He went over for Kosovo
Yes.
So he'd already been a little more experienced. But he called, and first words to me on the phone was, "We're going to war."
Wow.
Very first words he said.
Wow.
And he was right. But anyway, so I finished up that year in school, and then my grandfather came and talked to me, and he's one of those old school breeds, right? So he was at his little place in Korea, actually, the Kapyong. He was Battle of Kapyong. And anyways, if you ever look that up, that was that was a real meat grinder that they had to deal with. But so he sat me down and gave me the whole your country's at war, it's your turn to go, everyone has to. So he took me down to it was actually my cousin's regiment, and I went through the enlistment process.
Wow.
And that was it. Dropped out of school and went on from there.
You were very young. I mean, how old you were? 17, 18? How old you were?
I had just turned 18 in time to actually start signing my own papers and everything like that.
Wow.
If you have guardians sign for you, you can go a year earlier. But if I recall correctly, you can't be sent overseas, however, until you're actually 19 years old.
Okay.
But you can enlist with parental waiver signed.
So you enlist in the army. It was correct me if I'm wrong. Is the Canadian Royal Army? What is this exactly?
No, you only put the word Royal in for the Air Force and for the Navy. The Army is just called the Canadian Army, and that has to do with back in World War I, the Canadian Armed Forces wasn't yet a unified thing, and so the Army was basically mostly drawn up of all the different little ethnic regiments from all over Canada.
Okay.
Over in the prairies they would have Swedish, Norwegian, and Native American ones.
Wow.
Out on the coast, Scottish ones, and so that's why the word royal isn't in there. There was militias back then.
Interesting.
We had them too.
It's very interesting about the royal part. Because I know that maybe many people forget, but Canada is under Commonwealth, and the Queen,
yes, we are.
The Crown is the highest authority out there. So people may forget. In many parts of the world, like Australia, Canada, you're still under a kingdom, or at least under a person. Supposedly, you need to bow down. I have a question. This is personal. You don't have to answer, but I'm just curious.
All right.
When you are, let's say, in public, okay, and you are, let's say, a soldier especially, because maybe as a person you may do whatever you want, I don't know. But when the Queen comes, or in publicly, they say, here is the Queen. Do you need to bow down? Do you need to do anything strange like that? Or what do you do? Because normally I know that when the English people, they talk, God bless the Queen, they need to stand up, like the Pope is coming to town. Is it the same there?
Yes, if you're in uniform, then if for some reason, unless you're already part of a actual parade that was had a purpose being there, but let's just say for whatever reason the Queen's consort and the Queen herself happens to be walking down right next to you, stand at attention, you do not make eye contact, you do not move.
Wow. And
you become a statue. They don't want to talk to you, and you probably don't want to talk to them, actually.
She's a god. She's a goddess, the Queen. Anyway, and this is not disrespect to you.
Yeah.
And if somebody from Canada is listening to the show, please don't put it on him. Tyrssen is probably doing whatever he has to do. I am an American here, and I tell you, my view on royalties in general, this is my personal view. I believe no man or woman in general should bow down to any other human being for sure. And, my idea of royalties is kind of pretty much straightforward. God damn the Queen. That's the song I wrote, and I'm responsible for that song. But anyway, that's good, my friend. I'm glad that at least you took at least the time to understand what's going on. And then, of course, I always say there is always courage, because regardless that you are misled or not, there are two different type of human beings. They are alpha and omega. Sometimes, of course, the alpha, they are misled and they join in battles that maybe they should have thought twice. But the point that you had the courage to go there and to see what's going on, and unfortunately also to see things that many of us that we don't have to see. Tell us a little bit, how many years before you were sent overseas?
Probably a little over a year and a half before I was even able to be eligible for it. And then once you are, it's not quite like in the States unless you're there's a select group of regiments that are like sort of the core of any expeditionary force.
Yeah.
I wasn't in one of those. I was in primary reserve regiment. They have full-time soldiers, but they're part of the sideline army. So the way it works is you volunteer very much. You have to be eligible, and then you go through a selection process.
Yeah.
And you pass drug tests, psych tests, all that. You have to take some refresher courses, get acclimatized to where you're going to be going to, like culturally and everything like that, and then you can go. So then, my regiment did get called up eventually and went over, but that was, we're going to round up a little bit, about 3 years. Yeah, so somewhere in that ballpark, about 3 years.
Now, question is, of course, for you, the different weather. You live in Canada, it's kind of cold. Where exactly did you go? Which hell did you go to? Iraq or Afghanistan, just to understand?
No, my country didn't partake in Iraq. That was what do you guys call that? The Coalition of the Free or something like that?
Yeah.
Coalition of Willing? Yeah, that was it. I went over to Afghanistan as part of what's called non-Article 5. It was a NATO mission, so
okay.
I was part of ISAF, International Security Assistance Force. The Canadian troops were put in charge of Kandahar.
Wow. And you said the magic word, NATO, okay? I mean, when people understand that, I believe in what general, there was a famous general from the 30s and the 20s, that American general, by the way, was a Marine, the most decorated Marine, U.S. Marine general in history, okay? And now I'll tell you the name. My brain is kind of fuming right now. But the point, this general said, General Smedley Butler, we're supposed to have our soldiers for three basic things. But the most important is supposed to be to keep them home, to defend our borders, and to defend our rights. Now, when you send a soldier under a foreign command, you were not anymore under the Canadian command. You were under NATO. Like in Kosovo, they were under NATO. I mean, that's the thing they should be thinking. We are sending our sons and daughters not to defend our interests, to defend our national borders, to defend our, rights. No, they will go there as the hired, let's say, professionals, to go there for a global agenda. Because that's all it is about. It's about a global agenda. So that's what I really think, guys. Before you say, we went to war to defend our country. Wait a second. You went to war, unfortunately, like many other brothers that I have here in America, that they realized that under foreign command, and some of them, they woke up. Like in the 90s, for example, there is Michael New, Private Michael New. I invite everybody to find out who this guy was and who is still alive. He refused to remove his American flag and put a United Nations patch on his back, on his shoulder. So that's the reality. Did you learn that? Did you know that you were serving under the NATO there, no under the Canadian command?
Well, that was what I wanted to say, actually, when you're talking there's that phrase I use, non-Article 5. So Article 5 is what's needed to declare a defensive measure. Article 5 is an attack on one nation shall be considered an attack on all in NATO. But when I got my because remember we were supposed to be over there because there was attacks that were committed on our ally, the United States of America, that were coordinated and planned and operated from Afghanistan, apparently. Well, but when I got my my campaign accommodations, my NATO one said non-Article 5. I can take a picture of it and show it to you. It doesn't say Article 5. It's non-Article 5. So that's an offensive or policing measure, basically.
I see. And this is exactly the point. If you want to believe that, we're supposed to go after somebody who really hit us, I agree. Somebody really was hitting us from over there, I would say, let's go. But my point is, first of all, when we find out the truth about what really happened here, that is exactly the opposite of what they told us, the official tale. I mean, wait a second. Before we go to Afghanistan, we maybe should think about it, really want to see with these alleged bombers, they were all from Saudi Arabia. I mean, think about that. And now we have, just the last few months ago, there are documents. And by the way, Obama stopped and vetoed a bill to try to expose the classified documents that linked Saudi Arabia to the 9/11 attack. So right there, we have a big problem. But, that's why we're here. We try to help each other to learn this because maybe many other young people out there, they would like to join and maybe say, I want to go there and I don't know, do what I have to do to save my country. But that's for me, soldiers in this moment of history, they should stay in our own country, in your country, because the problem is the real enemy of our freedoms, they are not overseas, they are here. among us, especially in the highest position of government. What do you think about this idea of globalism or global government or New World Order? You think it's something good? It's going to keep us all free and safe, or maybe something's bad for our freedoms?
Oh, hell no. No. Sorry, pardon me.
Okay, I need to.
No, I think it's a terrible idea, and I don't like any of the, the UN coming up with these measures. This was, I guess, a couple of years back there, but for Canada and the USA and whatnot to restrict, our domestic, selling and buying of firearms. That's none of their goddamn business.
Tell me about something else. I know that in Canada, something I wanted to know about. Canada is being under attack for your right to keep and bear arms. I don't know exactly if it is even a right, because we have it here pretty much black and white.
It isn't anymore.
What is exactly
we used
saying?
to have a Canadian Bill of Rights. If you go on the internet after this, you can look it up, and it has a bunch of stuff in it that sounds very, very similar to what you guys got.
Wow.
Now that the current prime minister, his dad, traitorous. I gotta watch my language here, but that guy and the Queen signed the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, where they replace even the word human, human rights, with the word person, which is legalese for corporate fiction.
Wow.
But they took a lot of stuff out of there. But on top of that, in I think it was 1996, we had the right to bear arms. In 1996, they installed a bill called the Canadian Firearms Act, where they instilled licensing and registration and a whole lot of red tape that is still a real pain in the butt.
Question
to own
is,
a pistol?
Yeah.
No, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. To own a pistol, tell me. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, see, we have what's called a non-restricted, which is shotguns and rifles over a certain length. Of course, anything that looks evil, like the most common, all-purpose rifle, one of the best rifles ever made. We love it here in Canada as much as you guys down there.
Mm-hmm.
The AR-15 and all its variants, because it looks scary. It's restricted, and some of them are on the prohibited list. I'll mention that last. But non-restricted is basically, the hunting rifles and SKSs, things like that. And then you got shotguns over a certain length. And then if you're restricted, that's different. Anything restricted, you have to register. And just for having your restricted license and registering a firearm, technically what you're doing is you're waiving a certain right that goes all the way back to, not the Bayou Tapestry, what's that? Now I'm drawing a blank. Anyways, basically, not the king or the king's men shall enter your home, that whole idea.
The First Amendment.
Yeah, basically, they don't need a warrant. They can just show up and say, we need to inspect your firearms.
Yeah, your Fourth Amendment.
They don't even have to give you a valid reason, but they can do that, and then you're in. Then you have to produce it.
Wow. This is interesting because, you said something about you had in your Constitution, but normally, in our Bill of Rights or anything they want to amend to our Constitution, it's a process. It's very difficult. But you just mentioned that the Queen, somehow, she has this sort of extra magic power that she doesn't need to wait.
Veto power over anything through her Governor General or herself when she's in country.
So that's my point, And I'm just curious, talking about freedom of speech, for example, I can say Obama is a rodent monkey and he sucks and he's, I have a YouTube with about 30,000 views that I say F you Obama for about 20 minutes, okay? And that's fine. Right. If I was doing that in Italy, I would be probably arrested. There is the law. You cannot vilify or offend the Italian president. And by the way, I did that also about the Italian president in Italian. But that's another story. I'm here in America. Now, in Canada, do you have this sort of protection under your First Amendment? That means, let's say tomorrow you want to write a song about the Queen Elizabeth sucks, okay, everything, okay? Could you do that without being, let's say, civilly persecuted or lawsuit or even just criminally? Some state they can, arrest you in some countries. Can you do that or not?
Well, when I was in uniform, you of course can't say anything like that. But as a free civilian, you can say things like that, and we had free speech.
That's good.
It's only about the last two years it's really been hacked at a couple times, and twice this year we had these. Well, for one, there's a man named Ezra Levant. He's a journalist, and he he exposed this. What was it called? The Islamic Youth Congress or something like that of Canada. And basically, they had terrorist ties.
Yeah.
They're getting funding from Hamas-type groups. And so he exposed that. And on camera, this guy threatened him and called Ezra Levant is Jewish. So the guy called him, a bunch of nasty stuff. So the guy was trying to sue him, so he wanted to counter-sue the guy and say, like, look, I have evidence, racial slurs, blah, blah, blah. And it was decided after one, because he was a white man, then he couldn't declare the brown Muslim fella for being racist.
Wow.
Because, I guess it's that philosophy that they can't be. But also, we now have something called, well, I guess actually this will sound familiar to you from and European people. We have these hate speech laws now.
Yes.
So, yeah, and it's mostly had to
Europe.
do with these social justice warriors and all that, and their stupid pronouns and everything like that. And so I never understood this. These people make a big stink about they want rights taken away from them. They want speech limited. That's ridiculous. Absolutely freaking nuts. But
it is part of the plan. They're brainwashing us since when people go to the public education schools, and they start to give you, of course, the social media, and of course the government itself spend billions of dollars into this program. Listen, I want, by the way, have you again. I would like to probably have just you as a guest to talk about guns, because it's something that I like to know more about the Canadian culture, and also, of course, more about the laws, and also about
we're a gun-loving country.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad at least you still have, at least on paper, the right to, as civilians, as citizens, to free speech. Because I tell you, even here in the military, you don't have freedom of speech. If you are under, with a uniform, you can say almost anything. Now, speaking about you in uniform.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
No, we can't call you in uniform, no.
No, uniform, I don't think anywhere in the world. When you're under the army or any type of armed force, you pretty much give away your rights.
Drill, dress, and deportment. Yeah.
That's why I left when I was in Italy. I couldn't handle that anymore. But that's another story. Listen to me.
You had a brain.
I wanted to ask you, you were lucky. You are here able to walk on your legs. I saw a photo of you. You were laying flat with a bunch of blood, and you got a pretty beat up leg. Tell me a little bit what happened to you. We got 2 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, that was a pretty rough day. The gist of it is, there was an explosive, an IED was put somewhere, and we happened to park our G-Wagon right next to it. It went off, and a piece of some kind of metal went right through my friend's hip and buried itself basically right next to my crotch.
Wow. I mean...
And... Yeah, there was a lot of blood.
Terrible.
I don't remember feeling it, but I know it hurt because everyone told me I was just freaking out.
Yeah.
And
how
the last
old
thing
you
I
were?
remember was getting loaded onto a helicopter, and I woke up in Germany.
How old you were exactly?
2000. So I'm 32 now. That was 7 years ago.
You're a young man. I mean, that's for sure. Listen,
yeah.
I'm so glad that you made it back with your 2 legs and your 2 other things you got between your legs, because this would be so sad. Seriously.
I
mean, think about it, especially after when you found out the fraud, all the stuff that we know, because I have a lot of friends that went down there and maybe they weren't that lucky like you were. I'm telling you. So I'm glad you're here to tell us your story.
I have friends who came back rougher and some who came back literally on their backs. But the worst thing was watching the Canadian flag being lowered in Kabul as the last Canadian troops were pulling out. We didn't even try to win. We gave up.
Yes.
That, I got no shame in admitting it. That put tears in my eyes.
Yes.
Because what did we even go over there for? What did we suffer that for?
Hey, don't forget, the military industrial complex loves you, okay? And loves people, no matter for Americans, Italians, Europeans, that do not want to know the truth. Because that's not the reason why we went down there. Trillions of dollars later, we are still there. And meanwhile, some big bastards, in this military-industrial complex, they made trillions of dollars on us. Listen, Tyrssen, I want you back. Maybe in a couple of weeks we can talk more about different things, especially about your radio show with the Soren coming through. I want to say a hug to you.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And Soren, and please, guys, listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom, do not go away, because there is another show after this, but more important, don't forget, to support the show, you can go to www.zanna.us. You can find out everything we do here is supported by your love. And God willing, I will talk to you next Sunday. Ciao.
Wake up, America, before it's too late. They're trying trying to make you fade away. They're trying to kill your faith. Every day you're invaded, your soil desecrated. Politicians turn their back. You're under attack. You're under attack. They're trying to erase your borders. The UN wants to give you orders. They're trying to sell your pride. It's time to wake up. Now it's time to fight. Wake up, America. Before it's too late. They're trying to make you fade away. They're trying to kill your faith. The truth has died. The media bias lies. They want